We're live. Damn.
Let's go.
This is it, Boris?
Been a long time in the making.
Yeah, how long has it been since I asked you?
I think you came up to me like last week.
Yeah, that's right.
Talking to me about the idea when you first told me about your little project.
Yes.
And then, the rest is history.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you are when I kind of decided to, start a podcast, one of the first person, one of the first people that I wanted to ask. So
I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah.
So I didn't know how to approach, but that time when actually when I first recorded my first episode with Shara, and then you and Drew happened to be in the office too.
True.
Yeah. So
it was very sneaky of you. You're
very
like,
sneaky.
I'm in the office. I'm doing something.
Exactly.
Like, what's happening?
Exactly. Because I know you like to dig, right?
Yeah.
I know you like to dig. So but I didn't know how to kind of bring it up,
Yeah.
So it was kind of natural way to kind of tell you and ask you.
Nice.
So here's the thing. All right, let me look for my mouse. Here's the thing. So my podcast is pretty chill.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
how I
can tell.
kind of want to like it. Yeah. As you can see, a lot of things are budget. And all good.
Yeah, just
I
don't know how close I have to be. To the mic.
I reckon as close as possible is the best. So maybe not that close, but with the headphones you can take it off if it's, because I know you can hear yourself, right?
A little bit, but then it's nice because I can tell that it's like actually recording.
Yeah. I don't know how, because you kind of hear like double of you, because there's one just coming from your microphone somehow. Yeah. And there's one coming from the software I'm using.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not too bad.
Shout out to Voice Meter.
Shout out Audacity.
Yeah, Audacity.
Pascal is not going to donate $5.
It's supposed to be. So it's kind of you hear double of your voice, but it's what it is. Like you said, my podcast is pretty chill. However, there's something that I do with all my guests.
Okay.
I write a little intro.
Oh, hey.
Because I mean, like, I know you guys pretty well. Yeah. But I guess intro's kind of giving the listeners a bit of context,
True.
Yeah, like why did I want you here? You know what I mean?
Let's hear it. Yeah.
So I've written a little something. Feel free to correct me afterwards if I got anything wrong, right?
We'll see how factual it is.
Fact check.
Fact check.
So, my guy, Boris Marinov, is a data scientist who is passionate about machine learning and AI, especially in the field of natural language processing, more commonly known as NLP. He was born and raised in Bulgaria before moving to New Zealand with his parents, spending his teenage years in Christchurch. After finishing his high school, he moved to Netherlands to study AI in the University of Groningen.
Very good.
Thank you. He told me he was following his interest in AI and his other interest in not having a student loan. Upon finishing his undergraduate and master's, he returned to New Zealand and has been working as a data scientist. My guy is an NLP guru, but his interest and talent extend beyond sitting in front of a computer. Whatever he may be doing, you can catch him vibing to some old school hip hop or house. My guy even purchased a DJ deck to mix some music together in reminiscence of the Netherlands years. Perhaps even bigger part of his life comes in the form of fine and visual art. My guy BM is an experienced fine and visual artist who even has experience in commissioning his work and illustrating for Dragonfly field guides, one of which won an award for the best illustrated field guide in 2020. Let's go. His paintings follow a realistic, vibrant style with a hint of cartoony flavor to it. My guy.
I know where you get all this from. Someone's been on my website.
Yes, sir.
That's what it's there for.
My guy BM has been a close friend of mine for a while now, but I still find fascinating things about him that I want to dig into. So I'm very pleased to have you here. So I'm very pleased to have the part-time artist, wannabe skater, full-time geek,
Full-time geek, baby.
and full-time top G.
Nah, none of that. None of that in this podcast.
Whoa. Welcome, Boris Marinov.
Oh, thank you, Pascal.
Yeah, how are you
What
doing?
an introduction.
Yes, sir. How accurate is that?
Pretty good. Pretty spot on of everything. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can, as I said, I can definitely tell where you got a lot of those facts
Yes,
from.
sir.
But
Yeah.
that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
No, thank you. That makes me look pretty nice, I think.
Well, you did pretty nice, and well, like, because obviously, like, even if all my guests have been my friends, right? Like, I want to do some research before getting into it, kind of thing.
Makes sense.
And have to say, you're probably the easiest one to research because it's like a one source and then everything's there, kind of thing. Yeah.
No, that was like a big. After university, I had like some time to spare.
Yeah.
When I went back to Christchurch.
Yeah.
So I was like, it'd be cool to like learn how to make a website.
Yeah.
And then people always ask me like, can we see your art?
Yeah.
Do you have somewhere where you put your art? So that was like a big thing to just have somewhere to like easily display whatever paintings I've done over the years and show them to people.
Yeah.
And then it also was like good for like looking for jobs.
Yeah.
And you always just chuck that in there and
Definitely.
this is my website. And it's a nice way to like show your personality in the way as well,
definitely.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So for the listeners, bit of context, like, do you want to give the website link and what's in there and etc.?
Oh, I don't even remember myself. It's Boris with 2 O's.
Yep.
Boris.
Yep, Boris.
m.github.io.
Yep.
Shout out GitHub.
Shout out GitHub.
Huh?
Shout out GitHub.
Shout out GitHub.
Yeah.
They do like, you can build like a static GitHub Pages website, which is essentially kind of like a repository that's just being displayed as a website.
True.
It was free, so I was like, just use that.
I was gonna say it's free, right?
It's free, yeah. You have to do a lot of like a lot of the stuff yourself.
Yeah.
There was a few templates which I sort of modified, but it's a new experience for me, so it was cool to learn.
Yeah. Is it what, like HTML, CSS?
What was it? Yeah, a little bit of that, and then they used like its own like little language.
Okay.
I need to like have a look again. But on the website it's mostly a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
Sort of experience with like uni and work. And then a large section on paintings. That's kind of like the main part of the website.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to include like blogs, and the idea was to sort of keep it going. But
do you mean the Medium posts? Medium
yeah.
articles?
Like I do have a Medium page as well, like 2 or 3 articles.
Yes.
But I didn't quite integrate them into the website yet. But you never know at some point.
Yeah. So you say you started the website because you had some free time and you wanted to learn how to make a website.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's been on the books for a while to like put something together.
Yeah.
And after finishing uni, I was supposed to sort of just chill for about half a year, catch up with the parents, but couldn't just sit around do nothing. So I was like, this would be a good time to put that together.
Yeah.
That's good.
So what's kind of the main motivation for that? Because like some people like working on websites, for example, like, they might want to monetize it someday or, different motivations. Some people just love like, I don't know, like photography or paintings and they put theirs like work on it. Yeah. What was kind of the main motivation for you?
Probably the first thing was just to learn something new. Like I really value that a lot.
Yeah.
So I learned a bunch of stuff about, still super basic, but I have a little bit more of an idea of how to put these things together. And then I don't know, like after uni, I was like pretty like emotional. It was like a very difficult time for me. So it was kind of a way to sort of also pour like kind of my personality into the website and like, a lot of the captions for the paintings, I put a lot of like sort of emotion into it, like because a lot of them are connected with really good friends.
Yeah.
So when I was making it was kind of just reminiscing of the people that are missing, and also like kind of giving them like a little shout out on the website. And then just having my painting somewhere that people can see, rather than me like saving screenshots and like trying to fish them out when someone asks.
So after uni, was it the like tough time being away from Netherlands, like coming back to New Zealand and new environment and stuff like that?
Probably like the roughest 6 months that I've experienced in a while.
Really?
I was in Groningen for so long. 6 years.
6 years.
Only came back home twice.
Wow.
So it was a combination of adjusting to living away from this very close circle of friends that I had at uni, and then also getting used to being back at home with my parents. New Zealand, I think, is quite a different environment to what I experienced in Groningen. Definitely took me a while to feel home back here again. And then you have on top of that the stress of like, okay, now I'm done with uni. Like, what's the next step? Like, what am I going to do with my time now? So it was tough, but learn how to coexist with the parents again. And it's been super good, like reconnecting with New Zealand friends and meeting new people. And I'll see my university friends when I see them. I keep in touch with them a lot. There's always one day of the week where I just catch up on like correspondences and message everyone back. Like, oh, sorry, bro, it's been the week. You know how it is. Which it's good.
True.
Put the effort to keep up with that.
How did you deal with that? Like, because 6 to 8 months isn't like a short time, right?
I guess I started exercising, which for me is like, well, like I wasn't too used to that, so I just started like working out in like my parents' garden. Wake up, yoga for an hour, work out for 1 hour, then half the day is gone. Then work on the website a little bit, work on like the Medium articles, kind of just grinding a little bit, keeping yourself busy to like not think about that stuff. Doing a lot of trips with my parents as well. Like as soon as I came back, we went down to Mount Cook and like that sort of area around there, because I hadn't seen mountains in 6 years. So like,
oh, is that right?
There's so flat in the Netherlands, and then I see
it's like popular for like bikes and things, right? Like bicycles and things.
It's very, very flat.
Seeing
a hill again took me some time to get used to that as well. I was like, oh my god, this is.
I mean, even Christchurch is like quite flat too. Like
Christchurch is pretty flat. It's surrounded by the Port Hills.
Okay.
Shout out the Port.
Shout out the Port Hills. Sponsor us.
Seize up. But yeah, like even the Port Hills seemed like something massive. So it was like, it's all about, I guess, perception. But yeah, no, just then started looking for jobs. So they gave me like a little purpose as well. And overall trying to chill a lot, to be honest. Like last 2 years of uni were like pretty hectic. So learning to just slow down and do nothing for a while, that took some adjustment as well.
Do you want to kind of go back to, because you know you had a lot of good times at uni, right? Do you want to kind of go back to that environment?
I feel like I would, but it might not be the same as what it was like when, you know, like grass always seems greener on the other side kind of thing.
Exactly.
Even when I was at uni, by the end of it, I was like kind of ready to like get out of here, because I was also one of the last people to sort of stay.
Right.
A lot of people finished their studies earlier. So yeah, like even now, like a lot of the times I think about, I'd love to go back and thinking that it'll be the same, but everyone's kind of moved on with their lives and it will never quite be the same. It was just so much freedom. It was such a little bubble. Groningen,
no, like, I think I'm a bit better these days, but I'm so bad with that, like kind of feeling nostalgic. And it's just like, you know, one of those times that you can never go back to. And it's kind of, it's, you know, I feel like each phase got different feelings, right? Like, so like first year uni was like one of my favorite times in my life, like so much fun. But I know I'll probably never have something like that again.
It's hard to accept that.
It's hard to accept that, and it kind of makes you think like you know what now kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, I try not to think about it like, I don't know if that's the most healthiest way of thinking about it, you know?
I get what you mean. Yeah. Kind of just try and like put it under the rug and forget about it.
Exactly. But I heard this thing. Do you know Rich Brian?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's like he used to be called Rich Chiga.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like he's like Indonesian guy.
Yeah.
And Chiga, you know, it's Chinese. You know.
No,
like,
I needed some explanation.
Well, I actually don't know what it means, so you know, I look it up.
This guy's like, you know what it means,
You
right?
know what it means, but he actually changed his name to Rich Brian. And I'm not a big fan of him, but I watched one of his interviews that kind of stuck to me. Like he said, like looking back in the past, you might think like, oh, fuck, like I should have appreciated that time more and stuff. But he said like, so feeling nostalgic, right? But he said like that's kind of an illusion, because like if you didn't enjoy that time, or if you did enjoy that time, like there's a reason for it. Like, you know, maybe you think about all these good things, but you don't think about all other problems you had.
True.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, it kind of makes me think like, oh, I can see that, like looking back my first year uni or, you know, other times too, like, you know, that, you know, for example, when my mom was here, we went on a trip and stuff like that. Like, I'm like, oh, like, why didn't I do it this way? But like, why didn't I enjoy more? You know what I mean? Like, now I miss it. Like, and and I think there's some truth to that. Like, I miss it for a reason. But I think, I feel like you know, there is like it's a skill to digest that bit in a healthier way.
True.
Yeah.
You always kind of remember like the really good parts as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's always bad parts mixed into that you kind of just forget.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, you just forget them, and it all seems like really good and stuff. But
yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, no, for sure. One of the things that like, so yeah, I think growing up, like I had a lot of issues with that, whether I liked it or not. But one of the things that kind of helped me dramatically was meditation. You know, the app that
You've been getting pretty into it.
Yeah. Shout out to Waking Up by Sam Harris. Sponsor us. Did you try that?
I tried that one for a little bit.
Yeah.
Definitely did like a lot more meditation back in uni, and it was such tremendous help with like stress and stuff. Was quite into yoga at the time as well, and I feel like the two sort of, you can get into quite a meditative state while you're doing yoga as well. But yeah, that's something to like get back onto. It's one of on the books.
On the books.
Yeah,
nice. One thing I kind of wanted to ask you about, I mean, you know, something that I heard last night, that you experiment a little bit with mushroom in Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
And Netherlands being quite open to that kind side of things.
Super open.
Yeah. Where do you sit with that in terms of like, should New Zealand be a bit more open like that?
Oh, 100%.
100%?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I just think all drugs, first of all, there needs to be a better education around drugs.
Right.
I remember in high school, we would think that just doing anything once, that's your life over. There is the whole thing about you prohibit drugs and then worse things, like people are going to do drugs whether you stop them or not. Right. Like there's always going to be a way. So why not like regulate that, have safe drugs in your country, even if it's not fully legal, like decriminalize it so people don't have to like be scared about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I think we can say here. One thing which struck to me in the Netherlands was like when I got there, I thought everyone was going to be like a stoner. I thought everyone was just going to be smoking a lot of weed. And it wasn't the case. It was mostly like the international people that were doing it. And I think that's because it just feels like this novelty sort of like really exciting thing to do. Whereas the Dutch people, they kind of just grow up with it. So for them, it's just like alcohol, just like another thing.
Yeah.
So they don't really abuse it. They're a lot safer with how they use it. And a lot of drugs in their purest sort of form, when they're clean, they're not actually that harmful to you, I don't think. So because what's legal, it's also not entirely legal. They have a weird gray zone, the Dutch.
Oh, you mean even with weed, or
even with weed? I think the what is it? It's like the shops, they're allowed to sell it, but they can't really buy it.
Okay.
So they buy it off dealers.
Right.
So it's still not like a government. It's not like the US where they can tax it and like it's kind of better integrated.
Yeah. Better integrated, you reckon?
Well, like they tax it and then it can get like it becomes quite profitable. So the government doesn't have as much sort of say, I think, or like they sort of turn a blind eye to the coffee shops purchasing it. But then they're legally allowed to sell it.
Right.
There was all these like, it's pretty weird, eh? There was like all these gray zones, like very gray area around it. So they had easily accessible like weed, and shrooms were quite easy to get. So we had like a couple of years of like trying out shrooms. I do think maybe psychedelics are not for like everyone.
Okay.
But I feel like most people should at least once kind of try it out.
Okay. Why is that?
Gives you such a different perspective on so many things. Yeah.
That's what I've heard. What was your experience like?
They all vary quite a lot. It's so dependent on who you're with, what your setting is, how you feel at the time. The very first time I did it, I was with a few friends that I didn't know too well. And then at some point I was like, okay, I'm just going to go back to my room and chill.
Okay.
And then everything hit and I was like, just very like novel, something you can't really like describe too much.
Is it like, do you see things or?
Not so much, to be honest, like at higher doses for sure. But you know, like the typical image that you have of drugs is like all these hallucinations and whatnot, which isn't really the case with shrooms. You do see a lot of patterns, and let's say this table, the way you see these grains, they would sort of be flowing into each other, and like things are like breathing in a way. That's, I think, how people usually describe the feeling. A lot of introspective thoughts. You can really like take yourself out of your body and look at yourself from a different perspective, kind of thing. So that's why also people report it quite useful for like maybe quitting addictions, because you see yourself in a different light, which you might have not have realized before. And everything just like looks a bit novel and different. It's really interesting. It's like, I've tried to put it into words before, but it's like, what we see is kind of like this fabric all the time. And with drugs, you sort of shift a little bit and everything, you kind of see it behind this like fabric curtain in a way. That's an interesting way of describing things. That's how, when every time I was like on shrooms, that's sort of how I would try and put it into words. And on top of that, it makes you feel incredibly connected to everything around you. Very in touch with like your surroundings. Very cool thing, which I haven't done in a while actually. It's been a few years that I've tried psychedelics. I feel like I tried it, it was good. I don't know if I need it at the moment. Or if the time is right. No, I don't like to force these things or like go out of my way to like abuse drugs. They should be used with like a lot of responsibility and care.
Absolutely. Have you heard of microdosing?
Had a lot of friends at uni like microdosing all the time.
Have you tried that? Because I heard that could be really good.
Just once or twice with like a little bit of acid. Because my friends would literally just like bring like a water bottle to uni that they would just sip on. They would have like a tiny amount of like acid dissolved in there. So a few times I had a few sips. You don't feel anything. You do feel a little bit more focused, I think. Maybe a little bit more creative. But mostly just more focused, I think, in the way. But I don't have too much experience with it. But I had some friends that were quite big advocates on it. I remember one time my friend Frank comes to class and he seems like a little bit off. And I'm like, Frank, what's up? Frank is like, I think today I might have overdone it a little bit. His eyes like a little bit too big.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't entirely a microdose. I was like, go home, Frank.
My man, Frank.
Frank.
Yeah. No, I heard, Sherm, like you said, like a lot of benefits, like psychedelic.
100%.
Yeah. I heard, Shara, so my first podcast guest, right? Like I told you that we talked about like her website and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But she happens to be so she's like a research assistant at uni, and she looks into like fungi.
Oh, cool.
And then like kind of the medical application, like potential medical applications of New Zealand fungi. So she's and mushroom. I think mushroom part of fungi or something, right?
Yeah. And there's a lot of places in New Zealand where you can just go and pick up like psychedelic mushrooms that just grow in the wild.
That's what Shara said. I didn't know that.
Here in Auckland as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So so Shara is like kind of interested in that mushroom side of things too. Yeah. So I asked her a lot about it. I mean, she hasn't done any. But I asked her a lot about it, and so in preparation of that episode, I was looking into like I can't remember is it chronologist, but like mushroom experts. And there's this guy called Paul Stammet, I think. So he was saying he's a big advocate on the positive impacts psychedelic can have, and him being a mushroom expert, especially mushroom. And he was saying he used to have like a mad stutter, like and then he like this was when he was younger, and then one day he took like mushrooms, and then he had like a whole experience, and at one point he thought like I think it was something like he has a stutter that kind of makes him quite shy, and he wants to do things, but having a stutter kind of pulls him back a bit.
Yeah, that would limit you.
So he kind of thought to himself like, man, life's so short. Like, I don't want to like have those moments anymore. And from then on, he stopped stuttering.
That's crazy.
Yes, and he talked about like microdosing and its benefits and like the research around it and stuff like that.
Nice.
It was really interesting. So.
Super. Yeah, there's so many interesting stories about it out there. Before I started doing it, there was like this website called Arrowwood.
Okay.
Where that website's been going on for like decades.
Okay.
People would just like post their experiences with psychedelics. So I would just read all these trip reports, and I just found that so interesting. Like the things people would describe. Yeah. A lot of different stuff across people, but at the same time, a lot of like kind of similarities in the way. People would report a lot of similar things. So I just found it super fascinating. Yeah. And then like the other weird thing is like fungi is like, I know very little about this, so I might be chatting shit, but
we'll fact check with Shara.
We'll fact check it
later. We'll have both of you on the same podcast. Yeah.
They're just such like an interesting organism.
Okay.
Because I think they are also like their own separate sort of kingdom. Because you have like plants, animals, and then I think like mushrooms is kind of like its own thing.
That's so weird.
So strange. And then there's all these things with like mushrooms sort of connecting to trees. I don't know if you know about that. They're like entirely different kingdoms. But somehow like the spores of mushrooms can, for example, connect to like the roots of trees. And they can kind of share nutrients, almost communicate between each other. There's a lot of like really interesting research on that. And the fact that this one organism can like produce, because in the end I think it's all down to chemistry kind of thing. It's hard to imagine that a certain molecule can make you feel that way kind of thing. And then have you heard of the theory about how monkeys ate mushrooms and then help with evolution?
No.
Yeah, it's like this.
This is right up my alley.
I love it. I knew it. I was saving this. This is some Joe Rogan shit. Don't worry, we'll get into the DMT later. But yeah, there is like a pretty famous theory which mushrooms, because they also like, you look back in culture and stuff, they're very present in a lot of different cultures. dating back thousands of years.
Yeah.
So there is this theory where that was sort of involved in like the process of evolution,
Okay.
where early humans or like primates would sort of, you stumbling around the forest looking for like some new food, and you see these mushrooms like on the ground, and you just start munching them.
Yeah.
Especially without having any idea of like how much to eat.
Yeah, yeah.
Poor little monkey, the first like 8 psychedelic mushrooms, I can't imagine how it felt, but that whole elevated mindset that you get out of it, like I'm not a firm believer in the theory, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if somehow it did have some sort of impact on these things.
For sure.
Because then I think that leads to like more of like this communal feel and something which I think defines people as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So all these monkeys just tripping balls and just hanging out with each other.
Bro, my guy. Well, no, like there's this guy who thinks like the Christianity is like a and the whole idea behind it, right? Like Jesus Christ and God, and but there's this guy who thinks that's like big mistake, and like he thinks the whole religion is based on mushrooms. So like one thing he says is like I don't know, Jesus Christ, like somehow the name is like something to do with mushroom, and like if you look at the old paintings and stuff, like you see a lot of mushrooms painted on it. Yeah. So but I mean, so there's that guy. So and Joe Rogan brought that up with post-Emmett, and he thinks it's kind of stretching a bit. Yeah. To be fair, I haven't heard that the other guy, so I can't really say. But there's an expert who says it's a bit of a stretch. Yeah. But I think without a doubt, like mushroom, whether it's recorded or not, I imagine like sounds like it's got such a big impact on people's lives, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, they've been present for so long.
Yeah.
So not just mushrooms, but like psychedelics in general.
Right.
I think like ayahuasca and all that stuff. I think that again dates back like thousands of years and rituals and so on.
Have you tried that?
No. That's that's next level thing. Yeah. I think for that you kind of have to go to like, I think it's Central American somewhere where it's quite popular. Yeah. Either Central or South America, but I don't want to be fact check me again. I think for those experiences, you kind of want to like have someone guiding you and like do it the proper way.
Yeah. Who's done it before and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Usually there's like a shaman.
Yeah. Okay.
And he kind of like takes you because it's like you shouldn't abuse these things and a certain level of respect should be kept, I think, when you do them. So doing it kind of like the proper way and respecting how people have done it in the past. Yeah. I think that's quite important for that. Yeah. But yeah, like they've been around for ages and they're not going anywhere, I don't think. No, so for sure. What's the point in trying to stop that? Exactly. And you look at countries which have decriminalized or allowed drugs, and they're doing pretty well, I think, and like in terms of like the war on drugs and all that. So I'm a big advocate on sort of progressing forward a little bit with that kind of stuff.
I think especially when there's a lot of like reported benefits of them, and a lot of them like studied benefits too.
For sure. Yeah. And that's like the weird part, right? I think there hasn't been that much research done on the topic, right? Because these things were just like made illegal straight away in the US, like early on, and then just all research on it stopped. Yeah. So now trying to like continue the research and like knowing more about them, it's difficult, but I think slowly. Yeah. From what I see, we're sort of getting there.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to see that. I mean, like, and it's coming from someone who's never done even weed. I've never done drugs or alcohol as far as I've gotten, Yeah. And I haven't done a ciggy either, Yeah. Not even a drag. So it's coming from someone who hasn't even had experience. But I think, I don't know, to me, it kind of
It's just interesting, right?
It's interesting, and it kind of makes sense that it's there should be a bit more reliable access to it.
Yeah.
You know, something that I can trust, that okay, like I'm buying it from a vendor who I can trust, you know, it's not something dodgy, you know what I mean? Like
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see you doing some shrooms though, Pascal.
I would love, I think, you know, I'm open to the experience.
Yeah.
You know, just because I've heard so many good stories.
Yeah.
And I feel like it sounds like if I do it correctly and kind of follow a careful kind of procedure, the potential negative is quite small. It's quite minimal.
Pretty small, yeah. I don't think I've ever had really a bad time on shrooms. Certainly some intense experiences, but I think sort of the best advice I can give is like just go with it. Don't try and fight it. Like nothing bad can really happen unless you really like try and fight the experience and resist. You kind of just let them take you away, and they'll take you away to somewhere nice.
Damn. I mean, it's interesting what you said about like was it blanket or like texture?
Yeah, kind of the fabric.
Like fabric. And you look at it in like a different view. Because I heard this other guy who's like a historian, and he kind of like have you heard of him, like Graham Hancock?
A name rings a bell, but that's
maybe So he's kind of big into like claiming that all the civilizations, like Egyptian civilizations and like pyramids and stuff, like it's older than we think it is.
Yeah.
And he's got this theory. I don't know if he came up with the theory, but there's this theory, Younger Dryas impact theory. So he reckons like, I don't know, like 13,400 years ago. I don't know if I got the number right, but like there was like, you know, there was like a meteor or something that like destroyed the earth and wiped like 90% of the population or something. So they had to like kind of start again, you know, from the scratch. You know, all the technology they developed so far, you know, at that point, they had to do it again. And that's why, like, they reckon, you know, Egyptian pyramids and things, like, you know, no one really knows how they built it. I mean, you know, some people say slaves, and some people say other things, you know,
ancient aliens,
ancient aliens and stuff, right? But you know, there is no kind of proof to it. Yeah. So one thing he reckons is there probably was a technology that we are not used to. So from then it becomes, you can see that it could become quite controversial, because he's claiming that like the evolution of technology isn't linear. Like they went like a different path. Yeah. So they had like technology that not necessarily more advanced than us, but
it's very different.
It's just very different.
Kind of
yeah. So it's super interesting, and well, he's he's quite big into that kind of thing, and he's kind of known to be like, he's kind of into like psychedelic as well. Yeah. And he said he reckons like, you know, when you do psychedelic and stuff, you know, like there are you know, the experience, you know, there are different ways to kind of digest it. And he reckons like it could be that to him, it could be that like we are not seeing something that's not there in a way. You are kind of, psychedelic makes you tune into something to be able to see something that's always there, but you can't see when, you know, normally.
Yeah, it's a very good description.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay, yeah. So I was like, damn, that's who knows, right?
Who knows?
Yeah.
You definitely feel like way more creative and like problem solving.
Yeah.
I guess to some point, once you get a bit too high, then you kind of become a little bit like incapacitated.
Right. There's a line.
Yeah, but in small doses, like your creativity and like the way you approach problems is very different to, I think, how you would typically do it.
Yeah.
So I can imagine like ancient civilizations, if they were like using these things like all the time, never know what sort of tech they had. Yeah,
exactly. What do your parents think about like psychedelic and drugs and things?
I'm very open with them, so they know like everything I've done.
Is that right?
Yeah. I've never like maybe I haven't told them like the extent, the
Yeah,
amount of how many things I've tried, but they definitely know a lot about the things I've done. My dad is a lot more on the same opinion as me.
Okay.
He's like quite open to it. He thinks things should be decriminalized or at least legalized. We sort of agree on that.
Yeah.
My mum is a little bit more hesitant.
Yeah.
But I think to her it's kind of just like a lack of education around these things. Yeah. I remember when the weed referendum was happening here in New Zealand, and I was asking her how she's going to vote.
Yeah.
She wasn't that keen on it. And then we sort of had a chat, and very quickly it became clear to me just how little she knows about it. She was asking me like if cocaine and like weed are the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, like
Mom.
Sit down. Mother dearest. Very different things. And yeah, like of course she's going to vote no if she sort of associates these things with such negative connotations. Yeah. I've told them about my psychedelic experiences and sort of tried to explain to them what it feels like.
Yeah.
Quite difficult, I think, for them to understand.
Yeah. So but they were interested.
They were interested.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think it didn't quite sit with them in the way, like it wasn't quite as compelling to them.
So they wouldn't do it themselves?
I couldn't imagine that. Yeah. I think it might be a little bit too much for them. Yeah.
But they could do a bit of microdosing, you know.
Could be, yeah. I think my parents as well, because they would have grown up in like very communistic times.
Yeah.
So for them it was just like such a different sort of thing.
Yeah.
Even when I started like first drinking in high school, I think New Zealand culture, like drinking culture is very different to what we would have had in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
So for them it was like quite concerning that we were like binge drinking most weekends. But they sort of just like accepted it at some point.
So so they're quite flexible like that, or?
Oh, my parents are like so chill, and
really?
They really trusted me with like complete freedom. I never felt like very restricted in what I was allowed to do. I think for them it was just very weird because that's not what they would have done when they were younger.
Yeah.
But they learned to trust me and like just accept their culture here. And like in other places just different.
Yeah.
And like time changes kind of thing. No, they've always been incredibly supportive of all my decisions.
What do you think about that? Do you think like, they could have like hold me back from some things, or?
Nah, definitely not. I'm so thankful they're like that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, because this way I got to experience so many things.
Yeah.
I think I always like, sometimes I look at parents that are quite strict and they like to keep their kids quite close to them. Yeah. Which of course is like fine. Like I'm not criticizing that, but I would have not liked that for myself because I would have, I don't know, I just had so much freedom to try out new things leaving to the opposite side of the world to live by myself. I think that would have been quite difficult for them to sort of let me go, but in the end they just let me do what kind of what I want to do and what's interesting to me and stuff. No, shout out Mr. and Mrs. Marinov. Milan and Svetla.
Milan and what's her name?
Svetla. Svetla, like Svetlana.
Okay.
But it's just Svetla.
Svetler.
Very good.
Svetler. Milan and Svetler. You caught up with Milan.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Milan was here. When was it? 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Yeah. How was that?
It was good. It's always good to catch up with him.
Yeah. He sounds like an interesting guy.
He's a very interesting guy. He's very obsessed with his dragonflies.
Yes.
So he came back from Palau, which I had heard of it, but I didn't know where it was. Sort of kind of Papua New Guinea area north of that.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. Fact check again.
Fact check.
That's going to be a common theme for this podcast. But yeah, he was out there trying to find some new dragonflies or just doing his research.
Hey, did he find any new dragonfly species?
He said potentially there was one new species.
Okay.
But now, he came back with like a big bag of samples and all these little damselflies and dragonflies, and now he has to identify them. And figure out if something is new. I
Right.
think what he told me, because I do zone out sometimes. Like I've had dragonflies around me my whole life, so my interest in it sometimes is not as much as it should be. But he said potentially like there's 20 something species in Palau, but it needs to be maybe some of them not separate species kind of thing. They need to be corrected. So I think that's what he's doing now.
So what does he bring back to identify if they're new?
Honestly, I have no idea. I think
not like
he has samples, so he has like the physical
bodies
of them. Yeah, he like stores them in like little tubes with alcohol.
Is that what's it like bringing it back to New Zealand?
Oh mate, yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah,
he needs to have all these like documents. Now he's quite used to it because he's done it quite a bit.
Sure.
But I remember like the first few times we would travel together, it would always be a lot of problems at the border. People were kind of questioning him, like what is wrong with you? Why are you carrying all these samples? But now he's like worked out the system, so it's pretty good. But yeah, I think he just takes them to the lab. He has like in his workplace, he has access to all these microscopes, and he does like a lot of I think morphological identification. So based on the shape and like certain markings of the body. I think that's one way to identify them. Yeah. Another way is looking more like genetics side of things. Okay. He's always having these big debates with people in his field that are more inclined to say that is more correct way of science, like identification using like genetic, using like genetic sort of stuff. Where I think he's quite a big advocate for like more the morphological side of things. Really?
But wouldn't genetic be a bit more clear?
I think so. Yeah. But I think his point is that the two fields should complement each other and work sort of hand in hand. Yeah. Whereas from what I've heard, like the genetics people are sort of like, this is the way, and they kind of completely ignore the other method. Yeah. I remember I asked them a few times to give me, because I also think for me, I'd be like, just look at the genetics. What's the point in looking at the shapes and the markings, because they can probably vary quite a bit. Yeah, yeah. But he had some good arguments, which I don't quite remember.
Well, I will need to have him on the podcast.
Mate, yeah, he'll be the next guest.
For real though, yeah.
You won't get much out of him apart from dragonflies, so you better be ready for that.
Yeah, because what's his daily job again?
So he is an entomologist, which is like studying insects. Yeah. And he works for the Ministry of Primary Industries for New Zealand. So they actually the ones which decide what comes in and out of the country. Oh, okay. So I think if he's bringing stuff to Christchurch, because that's where he works, he like knows a lot of the people, so he knows the procedure to like get stuff in. Yeah, yeah. So he does that mostly, and then around his job he works on different projects relating to like dragonflies and stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which has been going on for ever since ever as long as I can remember. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So was it like after you're born at least, or even before? No, even before that. Even before. Like I think he's always told me from a young age. He like bought some magazine that had all these insects in it. Yeah, yeah. And he just like that just stuck to him, which I respect a lot. I think it's not easy to find like a passion like that. Yeah. Whether he's gone too far in his obsession, that's a different question.
What do you mean too far?
When you can tell that the only thing on his mind is dragonflies. Yeah. Sometimes that's a little bit difficult to sort of navigate.
What do you mean? Do you mean like
man leaves like in the morning 2 hours before work to go work on dragonflies. Yeah. Then he stays for 2 hours after work to go on to work on dragonflies every single day. I've never ever felt neglected in terms of like a father figure. I think my parents are like, I couldn't ask for anything better. Whether he's spending maybe enough time with mum is like, that's kind of what I mean.
Right, true.
That was like a really difficult thing after university. I haven't really, we've grown apart quite a bit in 6 years. I no longer view him as like this person that whatever they say is the truth. Now I have my own opinions, and trying to reconnect back with them was quite difficult because I can see the only thing on his mind at the moment is just dragonflies and like all these projects that he's working on.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the same time, it's like kind of have to respect it. Like I think not everyone is like as passionate about something in their life, so I always find that really cool.
Yeah.
And we've visited so many interesting places thanks to like these trips for dragonflies that he said.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's really cool. We've worked on a lot of projects together as well. At the introduction, you mentioned that we had a illustrated field guide for New Zealand and Australian dragonflies.
Oh, and there was Fiji one before.
There was a Fiji one before. Yeah, that one I worked on when I was still in high school.
Yeah. And then the other one after high school?
Yeah, the other one I was at uni, so he would send me stuff to draw. I'd like slowly do my sketches. Send it back to him, ask him if they're like correct.
Wow.
Yeah, the Fiji one was like all paintings, so 70 or so different species.
That's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
Fiji is quite biodiverse like that.
Right.
So painting a lot of that, and like you make a painting and then you have to check with him whether it's like anatomically correct, because it is used for identification. So everything needs to be like very spot on. So it's always been interesting like working on projects like that with him.
Yeah.
What's another one? In my time in Groningen, every summer I would go to this like little German town, Sulzbach, Rosenberg, where like a really, really close friend of my dad's, he was working on this book for dragonflies that he's been working on for most of his life. Yeah. So I would spend the summer there, help him with illustrations. Yeah. He would help out with my tuition fees.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah, Richard, the guy's name, and Brigitte, massive shout out. Sadly, Richard is no longer with us. That was like a big hit for our family a few years back. So pay my respects. Definitely helped out my family a lot.
Yeah, yeah. You mean in terms of like the dragonfly side of things?
More maybe also like in terms of like monetary help with like money and stuff.
Okay, cool.
He's always been like a big friend of my dad's, and they never quite had kids of their own. So him accepting me every summer and like helping me out with tuition fees and all that, it was like a massive help.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I did do like weeks of drawing random body parts of dragonflies for him. So
you must be an expert.
Fair enough, but
if anything, underpaid. You know,
underpaid, mate. Honestly. So now I know too much about dragonfly anatomy just purely from working on all these things. I don't even know the names of stuff, but
you don't know the names?
Nah, I just know kind of what they look like.
It's
interesting
because you would have to study it quite hard, right? Because I remember I had a friend who was kind of into like drawing people, and they were studying like human anatomy so that they can draw like muscle groups a bit better and shit like that. And I'm sure it's similar with dragonfly, right?
It's the same,
dragonfly with abs and shit.
Make them ripped. No, you're totally right. And they have such a different insects in general. You look at them like closely. Yeah. And it's like, it's crazy, man. They're like aliens. Yeah. It's
they look like aliens.
It's very fascinating how different life forms just look so different. Yeah. And their mechanisms behind the way they do stuff. Like dragonfly larvae, I think, have this like mouthpiece that they can throw out to like grab food. Really? There's some crazy mechanisms, man. Like, I don't know how things evolved to be like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Before we keep going, do you want a bit of vitamin water?
Shout out vitamin water.
Shout out vitamin
antioxidants.
Water.
Yeah, I'd love to have like a little drink.
Yeah, this is which one do you want? Lemonade flavor?
What's this one? Mixed I'd love to have the lemonade.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Let's go. Thank you for sponsoring us.
Thank you, vitamin water. Antioxidant.
Keep the brain flowing.
I don't mind that.
It's pretty good.
I don't mind that.
Cannot complain. I received the call. I just need to check this.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Sorry, we might need to edit this out.
No, it's fine. Go for it.
Oh, it's...
Your friend?
Yeah, we're going to an engagement party today, so I have to figure out the... Nice. Have the voucher ready. Okay, sorry. Mic check, cool. Mic check. We're back.
Mic check. We're back. We're back. So, what do you think it's about Dragonfly? Like, why not like butterfly? I feel like butterfly is a bit more common, right?
Yeah. That's another interesting topic with him. Like, he just absolutely despises butterflies because they get so much more like popular. Like, they're a lot more popular than dragonflies, you know.
I mean, you can kind of see why too. Butterfly being kind of like gentle,
a lot more visual sort of thing.
It's like nice.
Honestly, dragonflies are like the apex predator in the insect field. It's crazy. Those things are like they're savage. They're brutal.
So
I think that's like a big driving factor for him. He just thinks they're so cool and like.
Oh, he likes that.
Yeah.
He likes like dragonfly fucking up another butterfly.
Pretty much.
So
I showed him like Mid-Journey, like those or DALL-E.
Oh yeah.
Those prompt to image generation AI techniques. The first thing my man writes is like dragonfly devouring a butterfly.
So dragonflies do that?
Oh mate, they eat a lot of stuff.
Really? Yeah.
Even like even like things way bigger than them.
Yeah. Well, like
beetles, big things. Yeah, they're very carnivorous.
I want to see them fight praying mantis.
Oh,
because praying mantis
are pretty big. That would be a good one.
Yeah, they would be a good fight.
1v1.
You 1v1. I mean, this is like a good time when, like, if I had another person working with me, then we can just YouTube it. You know,
yeah, true. We could check it on the screen for the viewers.
Yeah, exactly. But not quite there yet.
We'll get there.
They might be there and they might be not. But yeah, dragonflies, right? So your the New Zealand guidebook, is it New Zealand guidebook?
I think so. It may have included some Australian. No, actually, it was just New Zealand.
Just New Zealand.
It was done with like the Auckland Uni, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
And that one, how long did that take?
So there was 2 types of drawings for that. I did the pencil black and white.
Yeah.
And then another person did the painting.
Yeah.
The colored versions. Took me a few weeks or months. Mainly because I was just at uni and finding time and motivation was maybe a little bit difficult at time. But it was quite a long process, and I think especially for him, like coordinating all these different editors and like I think he wrote most of it, and then waiting for me to get all the drawings done. That took some time, but yeah, it was like couple of months just for the drawings. I think the entire book maybe a year or 2, something like that. So
Whitley, is it Whiteley?
Sorry?
Like the award that you guys won?
I can't even remember, mate.
Oh, mate.
I'm sure you have it in your notes somewhere, but
I do have it here somewhere. Where is it?
It was like the zoological Australasian.
Yeah, 2020. I think it's Whitley.
Oh, Whitley. Yeah.
Yeah, awards for Best Illustrated Field Guide.
Yeah, very stoked with that one.
Yeah, how did you kind of expect it, or was that?
Mate, I just
did you even know that kind of thing existed?
I had no idea. I was so done. I was like, okay, take the drawings away. Like, let me go back to uni.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, Dad is like messages me. He's like real happy. Like, oh, we got this award. I was just more stoked for him, you know. Like for me, it's interesting. It's not my biggest interest.
No.
I'm just happy to like help him out and like see his passion and like see how happy it made him. That was very rewarding. I remember we got the award and then they were doing like a little mini ceremony where we had to like jump on Skype and talk to the guy. It was like 3 or 4 a.m. in Groningen that I had to get up. Dusty as, just waking up, trying to like doing like a little speech and why I enjoyed working on this.
Because I watched that.
Did you?
I did see a like link on YouTube.
Sure
I was so stoked. I was like, I got to see Millen, talk.
True.
He talked like for 5-6 minutes.
Oh mate, once he gets going, you can't stop him. Like,
no, it was super cool to see, and And after him was the guy who did the painting.
Yeah, he's quite old, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
But he's a really interesting guy as well.
Is he a Kiwi guy?
I think so. I know very little.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then it was funny because I don't know, like he seemed a bit nervous, right?
He was pretty brief, eh?
Yeah, he was pretty brief,
Yeah.
and then like but it was kind of hard to tell if he finished his part or
Yeah.
not. And then you're like, oh yeah, I'll go next. I was like, my God.
Greetings. Goedemorgen.
It was very Monday morning, stand up
yeah.
vibes kind of thing.
Oh, that's so funny that you watched that.
Yeah, it's unlisted video, so you need the link.
You need the link.
Yeah,
Man, not everyone can see that.
yeah.
That's because I have like for my website I have like analytics to track, see how many page views I get and stuff. And like this week I'm like, because I don't get many on there.
Right.
And I check it yesterday and I'm like, someone's been checking me out.
Yes, sir.
So I assume that it may be new.
Yeah. I mean, even the website, like, So one of the questions that I had for you was, so the website is like Boris with two O's and M at the end.
Yeah.
So if you write that out, well, I read that as, rather than reading it as Boris M, I read that as Borism.
Oh,
You know
interesting.
what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe like Boris got this like a philosophy on like life and like.
No, it's just the only available reading into it.
Yeah, true.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's So on Pokemon and stuff, like they're like if you play games and shit, like there are kids who just catches Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I always thought to myself, there's no one who would do that in real life. You know what I mean? Like they want to catch like, that's your dad.
That's my dad, man. Like so embarrassing as well. We'd like go out to like, he doesn't do it anymore because he's getting quite old, but he would always have like his net for catching dragonflies.
Do you mean like one of those?
Yeah. But they were like pretty high tech as well. Like some of them would like extend.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber sort of thing. Yeah, man. Nike sponsored. Yeah. So we go out to like even like Hagley Park in Christchurch, like the most central park.
Yeah.
I'm just chilling there, like young.
Yeah.
Teenager, embarrassed of
Young
everything.
Boris.
Yeah, my dad is just jumping in the lake trying to catch it. And I'm like, Dad, stop! This is like public property.
Does he just catch dragonfly, or
mostly? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he knows a lot about other insect, like other animals as well.
Yeah,
plants
it's his
as
job,
well.
right?
Yeah. Because he PhD in entomology, and then I think bachelor and masters. It's all like. Just biology, so animals in general.
Yeah.
My mom is also a biologist.
Is that how they met?
That is kind of how they met.
What, at a uni or something, or what?
It was in their hometown, which is called Silistra.
Okay.
Which
in
is
Bulgaria, right?
Yeah, in Bulgaria. That's on the Danube River.
Okay.
Sort of northeastern part of the country. Mom was a teacher at the time. Mom was a biology teacher for about 20 years or so. And she was looking for some expert or someone who knew something about certain animals. Right. And my dad at the time was working at like this, there's an area close to, I think it's even like a UNESCO site. That's like a very interesting like biological place.
Yeah, in Bulgaria?
Yeah. So he was working there, and then someone got them in touch, and then the rest is history. Yeah.
So they were like work kind of colleagues first, kind of thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
They're both very creative. So when we were, I was born in Burgas, which is on the Black Sea, and then we moved back to Silistra, which is where my parents and most of the family are. Then we moved to Sofia, the capital.
Yes.
And in the capital, my parents started like this. Kind of like a bio school sort of thing. They would organize different trips for different high school groups, all kinds of school groups. So they would take them into their mountains. Yeah. They had all these very creative different programs of like kind of educating them about different stuff about nature.
Yeah. Or biology like related things, right? Or
a lot of history as well.
Okay.
I guess it was also like just raising awareness of the interesting history of Bulgaria. And
that's cool.
Yeah, so they would take them, like every trip would be sort of designed around a different aspect, or like maybe a different part in the country.
Yeah.
So they did that for like quite a few years actually. That was one of the main thing they did.
Did they enjoy that?
Sorry?
Did they like doing that?
Oh, I think they loved it.
Yeah,
I think it was quite stressful because it ended up being quite a big thing.
Yeah.
So you'd have like multiple trips during the day to sort of organize.
Yeah.
No, but I think it was quite unique.
Yeah.
Like they had very interesting programs and all these different games they had created around different ways to like educate kids about whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of evenings, like sort of even me helping them out, like planning all these things.
Yeah. And you would have been what, like 10?
Oh, even younger than that.
Younger
like
than
6, 7, something like that. Yeah.
Well, I guess if you're into it, then kids will be into it as well.
Exactly. So I was kind of like the test subject sort of thing. Yeah. So my parents have always been like a really good team and for that sort of stuff.
Yeah. What made them quit it?
Well, so it was mainly the move to New Zealand. We moved to New Zealand. The story which my dad always says is for him it's quite interesting, the islands around New Zealand.
Okay.
So it's like a good base for him to go and explore.
Yeah.
Like a very unexplored part of the world for that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I think another reason for coming here was for me as well, like maybe a better education or like to raise me in like a different environment. Yeah. Which I'm very grateful for. Like I'm very happy that we came to New Zealand.
Rather than if you stayed in Bulgaria?
Yeah. It's a tricky one because now I don't feel either Bulgarian or Kiwi, I would say.
Yeah.
But, you know, not everyone can say that they've grown up in like two different sort of places. And no, I'm really, really happy that happened. It was quite hard to like, I think for me at the time to leave Bulgaria as well as integrating into New Zealand culture. Yeah. Culture here is very different.
Yeah. And also the language, right? Like
I didn't know any English.
You didn't know any English.
Straight into intermediate year 7.
That's rough.
It was rough. Looking on it back now, I think I experienced maybe a little bit of racism growing up. Yeah. So it was definitely very difficult to fit in, but just to get your grind set on. My man, really,
8-year-old Boris, right? Like, get your grind set
your grind set on, man.
How did you learn English then? Like, did you have to do like special classes or?
Yeah, there was like after school sort of, or like a special program in the school that I was in to sort of help kids get up to speed. Because English is also my third language. In Bulgaria, I went to a Russian-only school. So I was like fluent in Russian and then moving here, knew a little bit of English from like cartoons, sort of games kind of thing. But just straight into it. Yeah. As a kid, I think it's like such a good time to learn languages.
Yeah, that's true.
You just soak so much knowledge in. Your brain is so flexible. I got there in the end. Still have like a little bit of an accent. Certain words are like kind of hard to pronounce sometimes.
What's hard?
I find O's and like the R's quite difficult for me to say.
What's an example of that?
Like robot. That word is always like, I feel like I butcher the pronunciation for that.
Oh, okay.
So like those kinds of words, sometimes I'm like, I don't know why, it's just hard to say. I think just the way we like pronounce things back home. Yeah. But no, it was really good.
Yeah. No, like one of the interesting things, I mean, on the Borism website. Borism. There's like your CV, right?
Yeah.
And I think one part of CV is like your languages, right? Mm-hmm. And it was kind of interesting to see because you said mother tongue Bulgarian. Yeah. Fluent in English. Yeah. And after that Russian or something? Yeah. And I never thought about it like that. Like,
English is not my native language, to be honest. I think at this point it's probably the dominant one.
Yeah.
I do think in English.
True.
And my Bulgarian is, I think, quite formal because I just speak it with my parents.
Yeah,
I don't know too much slang or anything like
true,
that.
True.
And they always make me write stuff like if I'm writing a card for my dad's or mom's birthday, like it kind of needs to be in Bulgarian, just so I keep practicing sort of the writing.
Yeah.
But yeah, my grammar's pretty poor,
Right.
but gotta keep it going. Like as I was telling you the other day with like Korean, like you just keep practicing. It's
you
not
have
something.
to.
Yeah, because in the end, it's like makes you different. As like like imagine everyone just spoke the same language and we just completely forgot about all this diversity that we have. Like, I think that'd be a pretty shame.
There would be a shame, but it would also make a lot of things easier.
It would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
It would.
But now we got ChatGPT to do that for us.
But it would be a shame.
It would be a shame.
Yeah, because it's interesting how like different languages, because you can tell a lot about like the philosophy of cultures through languages too.
True.
Yeah. I just read last night actually. Netherlands got so Dutch's got 2 words for failure.
Could be.
Yeah, one word. One word. I think it's like written fail or something, and that's goes for like, I don't know, like you're playing tennis and you make a mistake, it's a failure. Another word for, and I think the other one's like pitch or something. That word for something that's out of your control. So maybe like you get into a car accident or something.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, or maybe less in your control. So they distinguish it like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah,
because we did quite a lot of linguistics for my studies.
You did, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was always like some classic examples they would give us, like people living in like very cold countries would have like 100 different ways to describe snow or something like that. Or like I think Aboriginal people, if I'm not mistaken, have like a different way of identifying like cardinal directions, like north, south, and east and west.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting how language is so closely tied to the way you perceive, I guess, things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of theories on like how, language basically shapes perception in the way.
Yeah.
It's another fascinating field.
So, because NLP is quite obviously like, because of the nature of its work, like very related to like linguistics.
Yeah.
Is that right? Linguistics?
Yeah, linguistics.
Were you kind of interested in that part, like that kind of things before?
I think so. In uni, so I did like quite a lot of TA stuff, like teaching assistants. A lot of that was for linguistics. I just found the topic quite interesting.
But you knew about that before, right? Did you take like courses on it?
Oh, yeah. So to become a TA, you have to first do like pretty well on the course itself.
True.
And then the next year you might get selected to help out.
Yeah, okay.
So I think for like 3 or 4 years I did like one of the TA things I did was linguistics.
Yeah.
And getting into the field, it's so interesting because it's also, you have the different levels of language. You have like phonetics, then you move on to morphology, syntax, semantics, pragmatics, and it's all like this very like different way of looking at language, starting from like the individual sounds and then how that builds up to how we use language, which is like pragmatics. And then, tying that in with AI and stuff, that's what leads to like NLP, like natural language processing. I just think it's really interesting to try and extract some sort of information out of like a collection of text. I think ties in quite a lot of like really enjoying like lyrical, like heavily lyrical hip hop. I've always like really enjoyed wordplay and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of where like the interest stems from.
So what came first? Because you went to Netherlands to study AI.
Yeah.
And then did you happen to take like a linguistic paper or something?
Well, linguistics is a very big part of AI.
Is that right? Yeah.
If you look at like a lot of the different fields which sort of combine to create this like disciplinary field of AI. It's like linguistics, stats, psychology. It all sort of like draws on each other. Because in the end, AI is the main goal is to try and mimic sort of human behavior, right? And because we're so closely tied in with language, you can't really like have one without the other sort of thing.
You kind of have to know a bit of both.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I guess and then when did you kind of have to narrow your research down to NLP things?
Pretty much my master's. So honestly, with the bachelor, I was like, it was a little bit of like forcing myself to get through it.
Yeah.
Looking back on it now, I wish I'd sort of used it a bit more wiser in a way, like utilize my time a bit better to like really hone in on some of the skills and things that were like teaching us.
Right.
Because I knew AI was going to be a big thing, and I had all these interests in all these different fields, which fitted quite well with AI. But the real sort of passion for it started in my master's when I had a big project for analyzing like Twitter data in regards to the COVID pandemic at the time. So we had like 2 million plus tweets in Dutch related to...
In Dutch
as well, yeah.
That's rough, right?
Didn't learn any Dutch after it anyways.
But how did you do that? Because like, did you not have to clean up like typos and all that?
Yeah. So it's just a lot of back and forth in Google Translate, sort of just hoping things come out pretty well. And then that was also like my first big individual project that I worked on. And then that's all of a sudden like programming, NLP all sort of like clicked together, and all these things I had learned in the last 4 years sort of came together, and I was like, this is actually quite cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah. So I think that's when the interest in NLP sort of first came in.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because for a bit of context, like me and Boris worked together, and
just downstairs.
And you know, we had an intern, and you know, like you're kind of, you know, like very kindly taking your own time out to kind of guide him.
Yeah, just
through the NLP stuff.
Yeah,
and then I could tell, like, you know, it's you enjoyed doing it, kind of thing.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Just show someone else like all these cool things that you can do with the methods that we've developed, and it's just so interesting, like because you think all these like cool techniques coming out in mathematics and stats and stuff can just be applied to numbers. But in the end, it's all about how you like formalize your problem, because you can take a collection of words and you can actually get like some sort of numerical representation on them. And then all of a sudden, all these like very mathematical methods, you can now apply them to like a collection of texts. So I think for me, that was always quite interesting how that works.
So you find that fascinating?
Yeah, very much so. Like all these like semantic space stuff for the embeddings of words. So that's essentially like taking a word and creating like a representation of it in some, let's say some height, like imagine like a space where these words sit, and then their position relates to their meaning, so that if two words are similar in meaning, they would hold a pretty close space to each other. Because then you can start using like distance metrics on those things, and or like I just think it's so interesting.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Because that was always a big thing, I think, for machines to actually understand text. Like I think the rules around syntax and how individual words are structured together across different languages, that's pretty well like understood by machines at the time. But how do you actually assign some sort of meaning to that word? And I thought that was like always really cool. And now we see all the developments of that stuff coming through with like the GPT stuff. And I am so out of touch of how those models are now created. I think things have moved so quick. I have some like extremely basic understanding. But I'm sure there's like all these novel techniques that they've added to it, which really make it such a powerful tool that we currently have.
You watch, is it 2 Minute Paper or something?
Hold on to your papers.
So, scholars.
Dear scholars. Man, that guy's a legend.
Where is he from?
I don't know, to be
can't tell
honest.
his accent.
I'm not sure. He's quite into like his visual sort of stuff, right? He's into like motion capture, AI, and like all that. But he always he cracks me up.
He's so funny.
We'd honestly just get like so stoned at uni and then just just binge watch like 2-minute papers.
But he's an interesting guy because quite a niche kind of area.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at the same time, like very relevant to what's going on these days.
For sure. He's found like a pretty good way to like deliver that
Yeah.
information as well.
And he's a funny guy, good at kind of laying out information.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, for sure. In
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
very comprehensive way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's obviously quite passionate about it.
He's so passionate.
He's so
about it. He's
passionate.
always talking about how like he can't wait to see what's down the line, and then
Yeah.
he's always surprised by how quickly like research is
He
developed.
always says that. And he's always like, how lucky are we? to,
yeah,
like-
yeah. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, what a time to be alive. I love that.
Cracks me
I
up.
love that. I think like from like these day and age, like AI, machine learning, these kind of things, like kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
And whether it be like people wanting to learn, or you look at job market, like AI, ML is like a kind of catchphrase everyone's trying to use, and
Yeah.
and things like that. But maybe New Zealand, I imagine being few steps behind kind of the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Like you still in New Zealand, like it's hard to find the guy like you who's not only like really passionate about AI and ML, but having kind of in-depth hands-on getting your hands dirty experience with it.
A little bit, not too in depth, but
Yeah.
some basics here and there. Yeah.
Have you thought about doing like PhD or something like that?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like for a PhD, you have to be really passionate about a subject,
Hell yeah.
which for me, I guess, could be NLP. But the thing that'll be something that I will sort of come back to after a few years of like work experience.
Okay.
Because it was really nice to be in academia for so long, but I think it's really useful as well to see what life outside of academia is like.
Yeah.
Learn all the things that we're learning now in the
Yeah.
company and how the real world sort of operates.
Yeah.
Because it's very different to like what you
Yeah.
experience in uni and stuff.
For sure.
No, PhD. My mom is always like pushing me to do a PhD.
Is that right?
She's like every few months she's sending me some links to some PhD that she's
that
found.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Like always.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know do you have an idea on like these universities are kind of top for AI kind of thing? Not really.
No, my research hasn't gone that far.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I think I don't know if you can go wrong, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's such a developing area and like it's moving so quick. I know my uni was one of the first ones to offer a degree in AI.
Yeah.
And it would be awesome to in the future go back and work with the professors that I know so well. So that could always be on the book, and then I know they'd always have me back. So we'll see.
yeah. Not bad. So like, because when you moved, you'd have been what, 17, 18?
To the Netherlands?
Yeah, to the Netherlands.
I think it was like 19.
19.
Yeah.
Which is quite a young age, right? Like that could, I mean, it would have been tough for your parents, but would have been pretty tough for you too.
A little bit.
Friends and family.
Me and my parents like slowly started getting used to not living with each other in a way. So at the end of high school, my dad moved up here to Auckland. My mom followed at some point as well.
Yeah.
I stayed in Christchurch for about 8 months. I worked in Canterbury Health Labs as a lab assistant.
I read that on your CV.
Yeah, to like save some money for uni.
Yeah.
And then I just booted like end of August, went over. I think I was just so excited, and there was so many cool people that I met that I never felt scared at the start. I don't know, maybe a little bit, but just the excitement of it was like so just driving me so much to just do it.
Yeah.
And I really cannot stress how awesome the people were that I met.
Yeah.
So, and I think because so many of us were from so many different places,
Yeah.
we all just like relied on each other to, you know, be like a little family. And I'd see these people every single day. We like spend a bunch of time together. So it never felt too lonely or like scary.
Sounds fun too.
Oh man,
Sounds fun.
It was unreal. Like,
yeah. Well, I saw it was on your website. Oh yeah, it was one of your paintings page.
Yeah.
What, like young handsome man or something?
Oh, Robbie.
What Robbie?
Robbie is like
Robbie.
One of the people that I met in my first year,
Yeah.
and just very, very, very good friend.
Is he Scottish or English?
He's Northern Irish.
Northern Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's in kind of its own country, right? Like it's not just northern part of Ireland, right?
Yeah. So unfortunately for them, they are still part of like the UK.
Okay.
Whereas Ireland is like separate.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Robbie's Northern Irish. We just got along so well.
Yeah.
And at the time I had kind of like taken a little break from painting, and it was hard to like get back into it.
Yeah.
So I just asked him like one day, like, bro, can I paint you? Would that be all good with you? He was like very honored. We had a whole photo shoot to like, to like get the right picture for him.
Sure.
And it just felt so good to like give it to him and like really show him how much I appreciated him during that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just one of the many people that I sort of met.
Yeah. And I was mad because he kind of beat me to it because he's got his own podcast, right? And he shouted you out.
Yeah, he did.
So it's not your first time being on a podcast.
Mate, just another day in the office. Literally.
For real? Yeah. What are we doing here? What better ways to spend it than come back to the office and
crack up?
Yeah.
So yeah, Robbie, he like another guy, Matt, really got us into like electronic music. Robbie started doing his own mixing, but he's quite into like disco, like maybe a little bit like happier tunes sort of stuff, jazzy disco stuff. So he started like his own podcast, like I think it's Buru, Bob's Your Uncle.
Right.
Which I think is like a saying. And have you heard of that saying before?
No.
It's like when everything is like you do something and it'll be all good and like, oh, don't worry, mate, like Bob's your uncle, like it'll be sweet.
Right. Bob is your uncle.
Yeah, Bob is your uncle. So
is it like a Northern Irish saying or what?
I would say so, yeah. Like they all knew it. I learned so much weird slang from those guys.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's cool. Bob's your uncle,
Bob's
man.
Your uncle,
yeah.
Mate.
So yeah, he started like his own little music thing where he would play a song, talk about it.
Yeah.
He also had a lot of guests come onto his podcast as like to like do a little mix. So for that one that he shouted me out on, he invited another really close friend, Rafa from Stuttgart. Rafa is someone that I can really share my passion for hip hop with.
Okay.
That was like we met as well in first year, and he had so many vinyls, such a massive collection of like just all these albums that like I really, really love.
Yeah.
So having him on Robbie's podcast, it was just like
perfect.
All these really good friends coming together and putting something cool. We're getting me nostalgic again. We talked about nostalgia before, but yeah.
Like, because I listened to, like, because I want to hear him shout your name out.
Oh, did you find it?
Yeah, I found that because you gave us like a timestamp.
Oh, true. Yeah.
And then and like, so because of that, like I just, you know, by chance listened to his podcast a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And he sounded professional. Like he had a nice voice, and you know, like it didn't seem awkward. It just seemed natural. He talked about things, and I mean, like he had nice voice too. So
cool guy. Yeah. He's like very calm in the way he speaks.
Yeah,
and it's like just nice to like listen to it.
What's he up to these days, eh?
Robbie, he got married actually.
He got married.
Yeah.
Is it recent?
I think it was last year.
Yeah. Were you invited?
Of course, but you know, logistically speaking, it's a bit hard to get there.
Northern Ireland? Is he back in Northern Ireland?
Yeah. So he's back there. He's working some sort of urban planning. He was studying like geography when I first met him. Actually, he was an exchange student in Groningen, and
Yeah.
I first met him like, oh, so what are you studying? He's like, oh, I'm doing like spatial science.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, oh, like space, like astronomy sort of thing. Yeah, my guy's like, nah, I'm just like planning streets and like urban planning.
SimCity.
Basically, yeah.
My guy thought, oh yeah, Elon Musk.
Yeah,
shit.
I was like, shit, bro. Like,
That's the shit, bro. Some AI application there for sure.
crack up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just working in that sort of field.
Yeah.
DJing a lot, so he
Is it?
really like stuck with his passion, and
Yeah.
I always see him like performing in different places.
That's cool. So he started that like with you guys?
Yeah, yeah.
And then he's still kind of
He's stuck with it, which is awesome. Yeah.
No, good on him.
It just living in that country, you're so exposed to that sort of music.
Oh, like, do you mean Groningen? Or like
The Netherlands? Yeah, like
yeah.
the electronic music scene is massive.
Yeah.
And you have everyone's really into it. It's definitely part of like the culture. And it feels a lot classier than the electronic music scene here, I would say.
Okay,
so
what do you
filthy
mean?
here.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, do you mean like in terms of people that attracts that kind of music, or?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I guess like the general rhythm. There's not so much drum and bass, or it's maybe a little bit like less mainstreamy EDM sort of music. Trying not to sound too much like a snob, just like a little bit different.
Yeah, true.
That 1-to-1 festival I went to a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
that really like reminded me of sort of what it was like back in uni.
Yeah.
I don't know, every time I've been out in Auckland to some of these events, people are just so messy and just acting like fools.
Is that right?
I just wish they're not really there for the music, they're more
Right.
there just to like just get messy.
True.
Whereas in Wellington, I think it's a bit more like,
Right.
yeah.
I guess like it's kind of developing here, right? It's like early stages. kind
Yeah,
of
for
thing.
sure.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
like there's been heaps of good acts coming through, so it's
Oh, that's cool.
it's nice to have those options now as well to go out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I wanted to ask this question. So my last guest was Denim,
Yeah.
who's an ex musician, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask him, but didn't get around to him. And I think it would be interesting asking you, because you've kind of, you studying AI, you have to study kind of the psychology as well, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So my question was this: why do you think as human, like we like music? Because like, if we think about things we like, eating, like kind of running around and things, it's all related to kind of our survival, increasing the chance of human survival. And how does music fit into it?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How does it like help us survive better?
I guess I can only speak from like like how it affects me.
Yes. How does it affect you?
Puts me in a very calm space. You kind of just block out what's happening around you, which maybe sometimes it's not the best.
Yeah.
But just having that music, it depends. Like maybe electronic music for me is more like focus. Helps me work better. Whereas for like hip hop and like stuff like that, it's always connected to just very fond memories.
Yeah.
I associate it a lot with really close friends and like just us hanging out, listening to vinyls. Probably elicits some sort of dopamine rush as well. Like surely somehow.
Yeah.
I just love the creativity of it as well. That's like a big thing for me.
Yeah, true.
I really like artists and groups which are maybe like a little bit different.
Yeah.
I just respect the process, the creative process so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of reasons for it.
That's
in
true.
terms of like a psychological reason, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Probably just like that ease of mind.
Yeah.
Like very peaceful. Even if I'm listening to like hectic shit, like it still puts me like, oh, this is like my safe space. Yeah.
How about kind of same question but for art? Like, you you look at like caves and shit from like years and years ago, and they've been drawing from like basically way back, right? Like drawing of them hunting and shit like that. Yeah. That's interesting, right?
It's super cool. I guess it's just like one way of somehow recording down the things that you see around you, some sort of expression. For me, painting is just like a very meditative state. Especially once I get in the groove, hours can go by without me realizing. Really? Just slowly like applying. It's so calming. And it feels amazing to like put something like the process of it. You start with like something incredibly rough. You paint everywhere. You don't really care about the lines, and as you build it up and you add more detail to it, and it sort of comes together, it's like a very self-fulfilling.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
So
that's my process of it.
Also, you just kind of roughly have like, I don't know if you're drawing a face, for example.
Yeah. So I would start with. I'm not very good at like knowing body proportions. I do need a reference.
Right.
So I would start with like a very rough trace of where the eyes might be, like very like a couple of lines only.
Yeah.
And then because I work with oil paints mostly.
Okay.
So for that you need many layers. Start with like, you could even do like, depending on your paper, like a white layer.
Okay.
Just because the paint, the way it like soaks into the paper, it's nice to have like a base layer underneath.
Okay.
And then you just build it up. So you start with like very rough, just lots of paint. You don't really care about the guidelines or like where things are. And as you build up on top of it, you add more detail and so on. And I guess just that very iterative process is quite cool. At the start, it's very discouraging because it just looks like shit, especially because I prefer like that sort of realistic style. It's very, but then all of a sudden it just clicks and you're like, I actually quite like what I'm looking at.
Right.
And then you can like really get into it.
Yeah.
And then just making people happy with it, like commissions, giving them to people and knowing that they will hold on to that for a while. And it's kind of like a piece of you with them. That's always been like a big driving factor for me. Every girl that I've really liked has always like received some sort of painting or drawing from me.
My guy, but what made you kind of stop that? I mean, you still
there's no girls that I like. I'm in the grind set, man. That hasn't stopped.
It hasn't stopped.
Nah.
But you but have you thought about, because I read your like your blurb on Heisenberg piece.
Yeah,
because I feel like that was, I mean, to me, even just kind of going back to your seeing your portfolio, right, there was like a turning point, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like it kind of clicked to you,
Yeah, that was a big piece.
Yeah, and it looked cool too. So it was for your teacher.
Yeah. So all these commissions kind of kicked off in high school. The way like NCEA art works is you have to make this like 2 or 3 panel portfolio that sort of progresses with your idea. And my school allowed me to, we had this thing where for one of the paintings you could do it on like a piece of canvas, and then we did like an auction in the school.
Yeah.
So one painting sold really well, and then all of a sudden I even like I knew it was going to do well, but didn't want to be there for the bidding to like watch. And like things were selling for like $200 usually.
Okay.
And I went to the toilet and I come back and I start hearing like bid like 1,000 and something. And I was like,
for the Heisenberg piece?
No, for like a different one.
For a different one,
yeah. And then things like, that's how things started off. And then like all these teachers started coming up to me to like ask me for paintings.
Damn. Well, which piece was that? Is it on your website?
It is. It's like this girl with like blue smoke coming out of her mouth.
Yeah, I've seen that,
So I think that one is still hanging in my school somewhere, apparently.
That's what it says on the thing.
Yeah. And then, my chemistry teacher came to me.
Wow.
I think it was even after high school that I was working on it, or like near the end kind of thing. So I made it for him, sold it to him.
Yeah.
But then, because at the time as well, Breaking Bad was like so popular, I asked him like, would it be okay for me to like sell prints of this?
Yeah.
I put it up in like some random Facebook buy and sell page, like
cool.
asking if people would like be interested in
Yeah.
buying some prints. It just kind of blew up.
Yeah.
First year of uni sorted kind of thing. Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, like saved up for like a lot of money for my first year of university with them. And then after that it was just like word of mouth spreads. Yeah. Different teachers, different family friends asking me for commissions. Since then, I've barely done anything which I kept for myself, actually.
Right.
All my paintings have kind of just like dispersed and gone to different people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like a big turning point.
Yeah. After the Heisenberg success, like, did you not want to kind of, let me try this with like Game of Thrones or something like?
Oh, I do have a Cersei one.
I did see a Cersei one, but did you sell the prints and stuff?
I tried, but that one didn't really pick up.
Okay.
It must have been like just like a one-off sort of thing.
The algorithm
just hit it at the right point. That one didn't really pick up, and that kind of discouraged me.
Right.
But you also have to set up like a proper website for this. Just like posting in random Facebook groups is probably not going to get you too far.
Yeah, I feel like that's where you start.
Yeah.
That,
you need to really establish yourself. And I did think about a lot, like studying fine arts in uni.
Yeah. True.
But I don't know. It was just like, for one, maybe I was a little bit scared of pursuing something which didn't have as much certainty in it, which sometimes I'm a little bit angry at myself for. Like, if you really love something, then you should just pursue it no matter what.
You're angry at yourself for that?
No, not angry, because I love my job now and I think it's so interesting, and I'm really glad I kind of force myself to like it in a way almost, because I love what I do now. Yeah, not the dashboard.
Shout out to Damien.
But you also always hear a lot about like people who turn their passion into work, and they have some negative things to say about that as well, because there's something to be said about like keeping those things separate.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So I'm pretty happy the way I've sort of managed to keep them like that. I could spend a bit more time painting at the moment, but it's coming together as well, like getting in the groove again and working on new stuff.
Yeah. What about just having kind of like painting is kind of your side hustle to get extra income kind of thing? Do you think about that?
Yeah. It's just more like the churn out rate, like how quickly can you get these things out. Because of my process and the way that I like what I define as like finished painting, it takes me like weeks or months to finish it. So I might get like 2 paintings out in a year, so it's not that much of a hustle.
True.
And then every commission I've sold, it's always been for like mates rates. Like I don't charge the amount of hours that I should be charging. So I've never really like cared too much about making it like a career. It's just really like self-fulfilling. It's what a lot of people know me for as well. A lot of my friends, which I like, which is also a big driving factor for keep doing it, because it's like, have the skills, it'd be a waste to like not like practice these things. And
no, for sure. So after your school, you worked at, is it Health Labs?
Yeah, CHL baby, Canterbury Health Labs.
Wasn't expecting that. Health Labs, right?
Big ups,
Big ups. Because you told me once that like you thought about studying medicine. At uni. So was that kind of and there's the Health Labs, and also your master's was kind of health application, right?
True.
Is it just coincidence or?
Could be like. I mean, I do think like AI has massive implications for like health and like helping out in that regard. The Canterbury Health Labs was mostly just like, didn't really know what to do after high school. It's like I should do some work, and that was like a cool experience.
Oh, cool. So did you apply for that?
So it's like an internship / paid assistant position, which I did with like a really, really close friend. Shout out Will Doak. William Doak.
William Dog.
Yeah.
Will Dog.
Will Doak,
Will
yeah.
Dog.
Toke, as we call him as well.
Wait, is that his full name? William Dog?
William Doak, yeah, last
Yeah,
name Doak.
yeah, Doak.
So we did that together. We're like really good friends from high school as well.
Yeah.
And it was just really like a good way for us to become like really close friends. Like the guy has helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
And then did that. Wasn't sure if I actually want to pursue the medicine stuff because it's a big grind.
Oh, so that was after being at Health Labs?
No, yes, that was the Health Labs.
Yeah, Health Labs.
And then I still had my scholarship for Otago, which I
Yeah.
could have taken.
Yeah.
But I was like, nah, I'm going to... Pretty early on during the Health Labs, I decided I would go to Groningen. So it was just like saving money, just using that.
True.
It was a very interesting experience, like seeing how the internal stuff of the health system kind of works a little bit.
Yeah.
Also very eye-opening. Like
Yeah.
the Health Labs is arguably like one of the most important parts because you'd have samples coming in constantly, different tests being done on them in different departments.
Yeah.
And that building was like run down.
Really?
Like I was like, this is such an important part of the hospital, but it looks like this place has just been forgotten kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's changed much since then.
Yeah. That's rough.
Sorry, from what I hear. But super interesting. And then masters indeed was about like some health stuff.
Yeah.
So I worked with there was like a Dutch nationwide project for it was called Concrete, and the idea was to be able to classify heart disease a little bit better. Of course, that's already like a very researched field in AI, but that's usually done with like very precise measurements, which are quite expensive and time consuming. And like what was the other one? It was like ECG is like quite a common one, but it's not very accurate for predicting cardiovascular diseases. Right. So the idea was to try and predict it based on like just introspective answers people would give. Right. So they would be asked about like, today on a scale of 1 to 5, how do you feel about this and that and that? And it's, you wouldn't call those very precise measurements, just how people report their symptoms. And then being able to like have this survey before going to the doctor and already getting like some indication of whether some disease is present would be like super useful to the health system. So that was super interesting as well to work on that. And then also another part of that was like people would describe their symptoms. So that's where the NLP side of things came in. And can we cluster these different symptoms and find commonalities between the different severities of the disease? So that's when I got to use like some pretty cool models and had so much freedom in how I developed my method. And that was really interesting as well.
And you like that, right?
That was sick. Yeah, that was awesome.
I think you like kind of the research, right?
I do. I'm sort of applying random methods to your specific problem and how can you modify them to get the most out of it kind of thing. I find that really interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Like, because you've written like a couple of Medium blog posts too. Got a few out there.
Would you keep doing that? Because if you're interested in that kind of things, you know?
For sure. I really enjoy writing as well. More so than speaking, so maybe I should have typed up this podcast now. For sure. Just difficult to find the time kind of thing. And these days it's hard, man. It's like one day you're not reading up on the latest research and you're completely out of touch with like what's going on. And like I went to Medium the other day to like see how my articles are doing. And like every post is about like ChatGPT and like all the like NLP at the moment is like such a big thing. Right. So I'm not sure what I can contribute myself, but maybe there'll be something I can think of.
That's hard. That's hard,
man. People these days, there's too many clever people out there.
Also, I mean, there are people like just dedicate hours and hours into it, right? Like, you know, a lot of people that it's their full-time job. And after work, you know, they do their own things. That's to do with that kind of thing.
No, there's like a lot of people that can like make a pretty good living off just like writing these articles.
Yeah, on Medium?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. How do they monetize that?
I guess ads, because I think for some articles you need to have a membership, right, to be able to read them.
Yeah, true.
Unless you put it, maybe blur this out. Unless you put the link into incognito and then there's no block on it.
Oh.
Yeah, I bought a Medium membership to like read this like one article that I was really interested in. And as I'm buying it, my friend next to me, he's like, you can just put the link in like an incognito page, and then you get past like the block. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Some hacks for you.
But that doesn't sound even like illegal or anything like that.
Nah, probably just badly designed.
Yeah.
Security around the website or something.
I feel like that might be different now.
Could be, because they're getting pretty big, Medium and all that.
So you're gonna buy an article?
Sorry?
You're gonna pay for an article?
I really needed it. It was like some code which I really needed to copy.
For your master?
Yeah, for some assignment or something.
Yeah.
Man, shout out Medium, like so much, like such a lifesaver, right? Like,
is that right?
So much. I just think it's such a cool platform, and like that's what I love about the AI field as well, just how open it is. People just give out their code, and you learn from that, and like it's just awesome. Like the community in AI, I think is like very open source. Just always pushing each other to like improve things a little bit. So I've like learned so much from that website. Yeah, it's hard though, because you like, is this credible, correct information? Because it's just written by someone who maybe knows a little bit more than you, but code works, so I'll take it.
Kind of thing. I haven't really used Medium before.
Do you have like another website that you go to, or
no? I don't know. Because when I was doing my research, I don't know. Like I didn't really use Medium. I feel like mine was maybe a bit too niche.
You had some pretty niche stuff for your PhD.
Yeah, I mean, maths like quite often is quite niche, and a lot of it isn't really like visualization, so it probably isn't that interesting to write about too. Yeah, true. I don't know. Maybe now that I'm saying that, I'm seeing the gap in the market kind of thing too. Yeah,
first podcast.
But yeah, exactly. No, but I have to say, like, kind of, my love for maths kind of died, and I don't want to say died, but I think I see more like, because I used to be like super pure. Yeah. I love like theorems and trying to prove it and stuff. Yeah. But at one point I kind of started thinking like I don't know, it's just like, it's very beautiful, but
I agree.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. And a lot of it is used in like cool applications, including like AI and machine learning, right? But a lot of it is also kind of, it sounds harsh, but I don't know what the better explanation is, but a lot of it feels a bit useless. Yeah. Like, I see what you mean. In a sense that these days I feel like useless got such an aggressive tone. Yeah. But I kind of mean that in maybe not practical. You know what I mean?
Like what use is that bringing?
Yeah. So I mean that in some sense, but it could just be me being a bit ignorant in the usage of it. But I just kind of feel like some of it is kind of like a bit redundant. But then again, some people who do PhD in it and dedicate their whole life in it, right? Yeah, they're passionate about it.
They're so passionate about it.
Yeah,
like what you mentioned about it being beautiful, I think is really interesting. Yeah, like I know I've only had like one very intensive math course where things went from like me enjoying it to like, holy shit, this is describing these extremely complex and hard to grasp topics. But like, it's really hard to like explain, but like math is like almost like a language that we use to describe what we see around us in the way, right? Yeah. And it's like our way of formalizing how things work. Yeah. And at the same time, it's like this language, it's always existed, right? Because it's like the way things work. It's just us sort of describing it and putting it down on paper. Yeah. I just think it's like such a beautiful field. Yeah. But I don't think I've ever quite gone into like the very, very pure theoretical stuff that you have. Oh, no,
probably me neither. Because I like kind of switched into more applied mathematics. Yeah, so I was kind of sitting in between like pure and applied. But I think math being a language, I think the closest or like most obvious one is quantum mechanics in physics.
Okay.
Because that one, like, you know, you can't see things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
yeah. So everything's the way you see things. Maths becomes like your own. What was that device called where you look at things through and
Microscope.
Microscope.
Yeah.
Maths becomes a microscope, and that to me, I mean, even now I get goosebumps.
Oh, that's
it's
so
like
cool.
everyone can do maths.
Yeah.
You know, you can learn it. You know, and using that just on your piece of paper, you can look into this quantum world.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
eh?
and I love like quantum mechanics, and because it's like, okay, you can really math becomes a beautiful language kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a cool side of things that. Yeah, but again, the difficult part is in order for you to utilize quantum mechanics in a practical way, you would have to be not only quite high level, PhD and afterwards too, but also you have to be quite lucky to be able to get a job like that.
Yeah, for sure, man. You have to be so deep in there to like understand everything. And even with AI, like only recently I'm seeing actual practical implications of it.
Right.
Like I think for ages it was such an interesting field, which I really struggled to like see how is this going to benefit us in the way, because no matter how good the model is, I still think it needs the human final check, sort of. Purely relying on like AI and like all these models, I think is not the way to go forward.
True.
But now we're seeing all these extremely practical use cases with these language models that are coming out. So it's cool to see it going that way. And then, because that stuff is heavily mathematical, and you can like, to describe it, you probably need some crazy mathematics. But at the same time, you don't really need to. Like, it's good to be able to understand it, but the thing works. Like, I don't know the deep mathematics behind it, but I know how to use it. So I can kind of see how you might think that description of math like is not too necessary in a way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's one of those things, like few people know it, and that's good enough.
That's good enough. Yeah, as long as someone out there knows it.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
No, but the first like big step up into like difficult math was for like our machine learning course. I had no idea. I suspected math can get that heavy, but until you're faced with it, you're like wow, this is like a whole new level. Like linear regression went from like something like relatively easy to like all these like crazy high dimensional manifolds, 300 dimensional spaces where your solution to your problem somehow lies on this high dimensional shape. And you like, it's just crazy, man. It's so cool that someone is able to like,
I know,
conceptualize that and like describe it using those techniques. Because also in the end, like, there's a few basic operations in math, right? They kind of just build on top of each other to create these like super complex systems. I think that's really interesting as well.
That is true.
I have some close friends which are very passionate about these topics. They always talk about it. No, it's awesome.
No, that's cool.
And it's cool to work with people that are like passionate about these things as well. You know, like at Luma, everyone, I'm sure if you walk up to anyone, they'll be like, they'll understand your appreciation for like these topics, which I love. Like, it's super cool.
Yeah, for sure. What got you into AI? Robots.
Transformers, baby.
Naruto.
Nah, just like Naruto.
I don't know.
Honestly, like, it's interdisciplinary nature in a way. I like how it draws from so many different fields, and it uses concepts and somehow puts them together to produce something which is cool. yeah, I feel like I had a lot of different interests after high school, and I didn't want to focus on just one of them. And then AI seemed like a pretty cool way to pursue all those different interests. At the same time, it was like you could tell that it was going to be something which is going to be like pretty hyped up in the near future. So I was also thinking about my future security and career, and I was like, this is going to be a big thing. So I'm gonna like go after it.
Yeah.
And it's like new tech, and like I love like exciting tech. And all the cool things that people make.
Yeah.
So that was like a big part of it.
Yeah.
Just because it was something novel and interesting.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of like maybe a bit of a snob sometimes, not liking sort of like things that everyone else does. So I was like, I don't want to study commerce or like do any of that shit. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and do AI, and it's gonna be like super interesting.
Yeah, true.
And I'm not really happy that I did that.
And I think I mean, from like what I can see, you wouldn't have really enjoyed like commerce or accounting.
Nah,
I think you see you as more of a like science guy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm grown up in a family of scientists.
True. Biologist.
Yeah, biologist.
You don't want to be a biologist?
Nah.
Why not?
I don't know
that.
Nah, I feel like it's one of those things where you're so exposed to it when you're growing up that you kind of just want to get away from it.
Yeah.
But I do respect scientific methods. This sort of community feel to it where you try and like progress together, building up on top of people's research and all that. Yeah, I'm definitely more of like a science guy, I would say.
True.
I wouldn't see myself out there in the business world or anything like that. Yeah. It just makes me mad.
Yeah?
A little bit.
Is that why you kind of, maybe does that play a role in like you kind of not wanting to pursue and monetizing your art, for example? And
yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
I don't like to put too much value on like money and stuff like that. Sadly, we kind of have to. Yeah. And it's not something that you can just get away from. But there's so much greed in this world that sometimes I think, well, a lot of the times does more bad than good.
Right.
I think if we were able to sort of look past that and kind of stop caring about all those things as much, we can progress a lot quicker as people.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a big statement.
No, but like I think that's you feel quite passionate about that, right? Like
a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. My family is not rich. We definitely grown up in an environment which is like I've never had too much money around me, and yeah, it was never like a big focus of it, and I've never felt like I had less than anyone else. Yeah, my parents really focused on spending our money for like traveling or like learning new things and exploring, and they didn't care about like material things as much. Right. I think that's what makes me mad. People spend too much, put way too much value on like materials, buying stuff, consuming. Consuming is a big thing, which kind of just pisses me off.
Do you mean like consumerism?
Consumerism, right? Yeah. How do I go to the mall every weekend and it's full of people? Like, are you guys really buying stuff every single day that you need? Yeah. Like just buy a pair of pants, make them count for like a year. Like, do you really need like 20 pairs of pants? Yeah. That stuff kind of just like pisses me off a little bit.
Are you pissed at the people, like the consumers, or those that kind of puts that idea into people that it's cool to buy things? Or
that's a good question.
You know?
Kind of a bit of both.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, people should be able to see past that and kind of just be a bit more practical. Yeah. It's like you almost can't blame the people from top doing that because they're just trying to make money. So that's the best strategy for them to do it. Yeah. But yeah, like consumerism makes me, and like we only see like what the average person is spending. You have some ultra rich people, like a very big part of the population that just like buy things nonstop. And you're like, do you really need all these things? You hear about like the fashion industry of how if something doesn't sell, they don't even throw it away. They just cut it up so that people can't take it from the bins.
Is that right?
Yeah. Like that's just like we're wasting so many resources. Just worrying about like short-term gain. Supermarkets wasting food just because it's a little bit past expiration date, like all that stuff. I'm not perfect. I definitely consume as well. And I sometimes buy stuff that I don't need. I think I'm pretty good with clothes. I like try not to purchase new things unless I really, really need them. It's hard to be perfect or like, to like always think about these things, but just like some level of awareness I think is needed.
I think so. I think I think being perfect is it's tough because to me, right, I mean, consumerism, like I can definitely see where it comes from, where people come from. Sometimes like I definitely don't need something, but I do find myself, I just want to buy it kind of thing.
Yeah, it feels good to spend money.
It's weird, right? It feels good to spend money for something that you might not need. So yeah, but I don't know. It's tough because I think I want here's something I wonder. Like if it's not necessarily good for you, it's a dopamine hit.
Yeah, 100%.
Is it better to never do it? Or is it better to allow yourself to do it every now and again?
I don't know. It's like it's all about just balance in the end, right?
Does that mean it's good to do it once in a while to just kind of treat yourself? Or
it never hurts to treat yourself.
Yeah, you reckon?
Nah.
I mean, there's this other guy. Have you heard of David Goggins?
Nah.
Oh,
all these famous podcasters.
No, this guy is motivational speaker.
Okay.
And you probably have seen him like
maybe recognize the face or something.
Yeah, you might have seen like his short clips or something. Yeah. So he's he's a retired Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
But he's quite famous because like he used to be quite fat. And then he lost his weight and got into Navy SEAL because he really wanted to be a SEAL. And so he's black. And apparently like in the Navy SEAL, apparently he says it's something to do with bone density. Like black people, they sink when they swim.
Shit, interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And apparently it's obviously it's not just black people. There are people that sink when they swim. Actually, I happen to be one of those too.
That's because you eat so fast. A bit of context for the viewers. This guy can just slam anything back.
I love food. Maybe that's
an understatement for sure.
And so because like that plays a role in it. That like there isn't that many black Navy SEALs, and he made it from like being overweight to that kind of thing, and then and he's just gone through so many things. Like he had to get a couple of heart surgeries because like there was like a hole in his heart or something, and then it didn't seal up the first time, and then but he's really known for like keep pushing himself. So he's super into running. Yeah. Like one of those like ultra marathon running kind of thing, and like several ones per year and shit like that. You know what I mean? And then keep pushing yourself and stuff, and so he's always super into like pushing himself. So now he's retired from Navy SEAL. He does what's called like smoke jumping. So you ride on a helicopter and you go around like forest or something and looking for where if there's any fire. And if there's a fire, obviously there's smoke. Yeah. And like you basically like jump into it and then you put fire out and shit like that.
Hope he has a parachute, right?
Oh, I don't think it's just I think there's like a safety shit and all that. But like I think like obviously quite dangerous. Yeah. And it doesn't pay well. Yeah. And also like there's no camera or anything like that. So he's doing it out of like just to push himself and put him in like situations that he's uncomfortable of. So I've seen him, and you know, he's into all this motivational speaking about like overcoming your mind, or like basically using your mind as a, like your strength, right? Mind is a powerful thing. You can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And he's got good quotes like, well, like I mean, I find them inspiring. Like, be uncommon amongst uncommon men, and a lot, like most people quit at their 40%. You know, go for 100%, whatever. And a lot of it is fueled by his trauma in his childhood and his experience when he pushes himself.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. And I was gonna say how this relates to what we were talking about before. Well, he's quite big on like no days off. You know, no days, like no, you know, birthday's another day, New Year's another day, Christmas is another day, no days off, like pushing himself every day.
Yeah.
So there are guys like him who I respect a lot that kind of makes me think, you know, maybe we don't need to treat ourselves once in a while, you know, like that we will still be sweet, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I guess that's just like kind of what works for him though, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I enjoy it. Have a bit of a lazy side to me. I definitely enjoy a day off or two.
Yeah.
And it helps me. But yeah, it's like some people just have such a crazy drive for like that guy's a good example.
Yeah.
I would say you are a pretty good example as well. Like I find you really inspirational. Like the way you always try and progress and improve yourself and like get yourself out there in like so many different situations.
Thank you.
Getting back into painting, like we joke at work, but like you're a big driving force for that. And like I actually just like really appreciate it. Like I'm like, okay, tonight, like no, Pascal would like he'd be proud of me if I did this. And that's awesome, bro. Because like we need other people to like motivate us and bring out the best in us. But if I didn't treat myself here and there, I don't think I could like, that wouldn't work for me.
You think so?
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah. It's interesting that like you say like some people got crazy drives because so Goggins, like David Goggins, he's big on like saying that he's just like everyone else. He hates running.
Okay.
But this is what he says. And I feel like, you know, take it how you want to take it kind of thing. And I don't know what to think of it, but he says he hates running. Yeah. But it's just, it's just him pushing himself to go out for a run when it's cold outside or you want to have a lazy day.
True.
Yeah. So,
I guess one thing to remember though is like, we're all so different. Yeah. So you shouldn't use what works for other people, kind of applying it to yourself. Yeah. Like he might be right. And for him, it's like he doesn't need a day off and like the grind set is always there. And he's just like, but do you think realistically that would work for you?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's tough because here's an example of this guy who I believe like really walk his talk kind of thing. What I don't think whatever he says isn't bullshit. He really does what he does kind of thing. Here's an example where it's worked out quite well and he seems quite motivated and I feel like some of his thoughts are quite inspirational and something that I kind of look up to. Yeah. But I also think there's a lot of benefit in resting too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I don't even know if that's related to... I don't even know if that is a counter example to what he's saying though, you know? Because he rests too, you know? Yeah, he rests too. It's so tough.
It's so tough,
It's
man.
so tough, yeah.
I forgot my train of thought. I feel like if you don't stop and slow down sometimes, how do you appreciate everything that you've done? Kind of thing. And like, you don't need a long time to like do that, but taking a break sometimes it's nice because you look back and you're like, okay,
that's true.
I achieved this.
Yeah.
My parents are like always like really big into hiking. Yeah. And one thing that always stuck with me is like getting to a certain point and then looking back
Yeah.
on the road and you see like all this massive progress that you've made from the bottom of the hill to
That's
where you
true.
are now.
Yeah.
And then that kind of pushes you to keep going forward.
That's true.
Whereas if you're just like grinding all day, every day, like time is just like goes past you pretty quick. And then you also, I think, need the time to stop and maybe appreciate the people around you.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this guy.
Yeah.
I don't know how if he has a family or something.
Doesn't sound like it. But he's married, I think.
He's married and
I think
stuff.
he's
Yeah,
married.
but like,
Twice even.
well, maybe maybe there's a real
Maybe you need to be like this guy to have girlfriends. Yeah.
Because like I guess I kind of see it in my dad as well. Like the guy's always grinding.
Yeah.
He's someone that doesn't really have a day off.
Yeah,
I don't know if he
true.
believes that. He
Yeah.
like pushes himself until he like physically like fucking dead.
Yeah. Wow.
And then he takes a day off just because
Yeah.
he's about to collapse.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, cool, you did all that,
Yeah.
but is that really like, I guess that's just like his purpose in life. Like he's told me many times he wishes he had like 2 or 3 more lifetimes to like finish this and that. And I'm like,
yeah.
fair enough. That's like, that's just the way you are, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not.
You know that much?
Nah, I'm not that much. Like I could definitely push myself a bit more sometimes.
Right,
but,
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Well, can we take a break? Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say. I didn't even see your
Fucking
hand.
linked
Yeah,
up.
what is this? I
Second.
need to go pee.
We'll be back.
We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back.
Mic
Mic
check.
Mic check.
Drop
How's your
the
pee?
mic. Oh man, it's so good.
It's so good that we had our kind of bladder call at the same time.
It was so well synchronized.
Yeah, because I wasn't even looking at you. I was like, oh, how do I bring this up? Like,
Awkward, cringe.
and cringe. And then I looked up and you were going like that. I was like, here we go.
Pascal's the biggest cringe lord.
Oh, why is that?
Always charging his laptop when I'm charging mine.
That's pretty cringe. Yeah.
So cringe.
So Doom,
Oh man.
your shirt you're wearing.
Yeah.
That's like speaking of consumerism.
Hey, it all goes to the Dooms family.
That's
so
true. Yeah.
That's something I'm alright with.
That's true. That's a pretty sick top though, right?
Does the job.
Yeah. Big hip hop fan.
Oh mate, have been for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Can't see myself stopping anytime soon.
Yeah.
Just Wu-Tang, Nas, Mobb Deep,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
You're gonna go see Wu-Tang and Nas soon, right?
I'd like to.
Yeah?
Haven't got my tickets yet, but I think I will.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried that like last time I saw them, it was mean. It was my first time seeing them.
Oh shit.
And I really enjoyed that, but
Yeah.
it wasn't, they're quite old.
Right.
You can tell they're just doing it to kind of like keep things going a bit
Just
and
milk it as much.
milking
as
it a
possible.
little
Yeah,
bit too
yeah,
much.
yeah.
So I don't know if like this image that I have of them, I don't want to
Sure.
kind of ruin it in a way.
Yeah.
But I've never seen Nas, and
Oh yeah.
that would be so cool to see
Yeah.
him. Wish I got to see Doom, but sadly, he passed away like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, really big into that stuff.
Yeah. Doom's an interesting guy, right?
He's so cool. I don't know. I look up to him a lot.
Yeah. How come? In what way?
He has such an interesting story. First of all, the music really vibes with me, like the whole villain side of things and the inspirations he takes from cartoons and all that. He used to be in the group called KMD.
Okay.
With his brother. They tried to release a few albums, quite like happy sort of music. So Doom used to be very different. Then a little bit more controversial album they tried to get out, which was dropped. Shortly after that, his brother was killed in a car crash, and then Doom becomes homeless and kind of disappears for a while, and then he comes back with this new persona that he has, the actual MF Doom persona, wearing a mask, kind of just putting more emphasis in his output rather than his image, kind of thing. Just letting his work speak for himself.
Right.
A lot of focus on, you know, like this whole hiding behind the mask and just letting like your creativity sort of speak for you. He just does his own thing, which I think is cool. Like, he's a little bit controversial as well. There's all this stuff about him like sending imposters to a lot of his shows. I don't know if you know about that. So there's been a lot of like doom performances where people think it's him on stage, but it's just someone else wearing a mask. And just pretending that he's Doom. So he gets a lot of shit for that sometimes.
Oh, so that's confirmed thing?
Oh yeah, it's at one point like you would go I've never been to a Doom show, but reading from forums, people will go to a show and like, are we going to see Doom tonight or are we going to see an imposter sort of thing? But then he's just living up to his image of like being the super villain and like just not giving a fuck and like just, so you could kind of see it both ways. But yeah, like his music is just so creative. The beats, the rhymes. I barely understand half the time what he's saying in the song just because it's so lyrically heavy. But I think that's the beauty of hip hop as well. The more you listen to it, the more you hear, and then you understand the other references from different songs, and it just clicks with you, and it's so cool when you do realize.
Doom's like no one flows like him.
No.
Yeah, like he's got such an interesting flow.
Yeah, and it's hard to listen to. When I first started listening to him, I was like, this is so offbeat. It really kind of has to grow in you a little bit.
Definitely, yeah.
Like the Big Mad Villainy album, I remember the first time I tried to give it a go, couldn't even get like halfway through it. It was, for me at the time, was a very like 2 or 3 songs on the album that I really enjoyed. The rest of it was kind of like, oh, I don't quite get this. But now I can sit through the whole album and it's just like a full-on experience. I just love albums that are not supposed to be listened to for one single song.
Right.
But where songs, sometimes you can't tell where a song is ending or starting. And then on top of that, you have Madlib on the production. Like, big Madlib fan. Like, he's got such like quirky and like very interesting beats. And then, oh man, like, like from Madlib, you go into like Quasimodo. Loot Pack, which is another Madlib like early group. There's just so much to uncover, which is what I really like about the genre. I just keep digging and finding new tracks. No, it's cool. And then like Wu-Tang for me is like on top.
Right. Really?
Oh, like easily. Just the grittiness, the roughness. Well, like you have RZA on the production, and like, I don't know, I just really enjoyed like his style of beats. They're quite like eerie, ominous, kind of dark. And then you have 9 different people with 9 different sets of skills, talents and inspirations all coming together. And that's just like the collective Wu-Tang albums. Then you have all the individual albums, and it's just like so much stuff to like listen to for whatever mood you might be in. And their creativity is just like unheard of. There's a pretty cool chart, like analysis done. I have to show it to you sometime. It's like this graph of like, there's a few different sections to it, but one of them is like number of unique words used in the first 10,000 lyrics or something. And there's a bunch of artists sort of on the graph, and you have all the Wu-Tang, most of the members together, just like on the very like top side of the chart.
That's cool.
They have their own slang. They there's a whole like Wu-Tang manual that came out of like values and stuff they care about. And then you can go even deeper, and like, this isn't something that I know too much about, but I think it's quite interesting. It's like I think it's called like the 5%. It's kind of like almost like a religion in a way, which started in the black communities in the US. And It's kind of referred to like this wisdom or sort of knowledge of self,
Okay.
which I find really interesting. And it came out as like I think there's like some Islamic connections to it, but it's mostly about, because the black man is like the original man in a way.
Yeah.
That's what they always say.
We all come from Africa.
We all come from there. So it's like knowing that, because, you know, like these communities have been so mistreated and like so just like years of just like white supremacy and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So to have this religion come out from these communities where its importance of understanding and knowing yourself and like putting respect in yourself and like knowing who you are as a person, and that's like really well integrated into hip hop,
Right.
especially once you start listening to it, of like knowledge of self, the daily wisdom. There's like a whole kind of mathematics alphabet that they talk about, where every letter refers to some different aspect of like self-development.
Damn.
It's really cool stuff, actually. It's like,
so that's a religion in the like black community in America?
kind of, I think,
Yeah.
I think it's called the 5%.
Okay.
And I think it's like, because only 5% of people are like aware of this kind of thing. Like that's kind of where it comes from.
Right.
And then a lot of Wu-Tang songs like reference that.
Okay.
Jizza, like the guy who, he's one of the members. He's like really, really big into that. Like his Liquid Swords album like touches a lot on that stuff. And yeah, sorry, I can just keep going.
Oh, do keep going. Yeah.
Just it puts me in a good mood listening to some good old Wu-Tang.
Really?
I get a lot of shit from my friends.
Yeah.
They're like, "How are you gonna keep listening to this forever?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like if it makes me happy, like it is what it is."
So you have a favorite album or that you keep listening
It
to?
rotates for sure. The Liquid Swords by Jizza is up there.
Okay.
And then you have the Only Built for Cuban Links by Raekwon and Ghostface. They sort of collaborate together on the album. That one's super cool, and that one sort of inspired a lot of like mafioso type of like rap.
Okay.
It's very cool. They all have their like different sort of different names depending on what album these guys appear on, like how they feel at the time, like what persona they're gonna portray.
That's confusing.
It is. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of stuff to like keep track of. But I like it when artists like take on a different persona as well. I think. I think that's what I like about Doom, because you have MF Doom, then from that you have King Ghidra, you have Danger Doom, and like all these Victor Vaughn.
Yeah.
For example, Victor Vaughn is MF Doom, but just like a younger version of Victor Vaughn. Okay. So he's like raunchier and like talks about like a lot more sexual stuff, whereas MF Doom is a little bit more grown up.
Yeah.
With Quasimodo, that's Madlib, and you have this completely different, weird and unique persona of who Madlib is. It's cool. I think it just reflects how they felt at that point of time. It's cool.
Oh no, that's cool. That's cool.
I'm definitely like, if I had to pick like East or West, definitely East a lot more.
Okay.
West is like cool.
Yeah.
It's a lot more like party sort of.
Yeah.
Happier G-funk beats. Yeah. The West Side. It's a lot more thuggish in a way. East Coast rap's pretty thuggish as well, but I just love like the grittiness of the East Coast sound.
Right.
Just resonates a lot with me, I think.
So that's all like old school.
Yeah, I've been stuck in that era for a little bit.
Born in the wrong generation.
What's that meme like? Born too late to explore the earth. Born too early to explore space, but born right on time to explore dank memes. It's so dumb. But yeah, like I used to think that was like the pinnacle of music.
Okay.
But I don't think so anymore. I think I just don't explore enough other paths. I'm sure that you can have the same level of creativity and like all the stuff that I like about that certain era of hip hop. I think it relates to current days as well. I just haven't discovered those artists.
Even better these days, right? With Kendrick.
Cut that out of the podcast. Nah, for sure. Kendrick is incredibly talented.
Yeah,
sure
you think
as well.
so?
Yeah. I think for me, it's honestly like the beats.
Yeah,
mostly
the beats. Okay, yeah.
Beats these days are quite clean.
I see. Yeah.
There's less of the influence of like the jazz and the soul sort of sounds that you have coming through, because it all kind of just evolves into each other, right? Like hip hop started from all these jazz, and like you really see that influence in classical hip hop, and like I just love that.
Yeah.
Beats these days are a little bit too clean for me, I think.
Right.
But lyrics, like, still crazy lyricists out there.
Yeah.
Like, insane. Like, I mean, Kendrick as well, right?
Yeah.
He's so lyrical and so creative as well, and the way he does things.
Yeah. So who do you listen to these days? That's more modern.
That's more modern.
Yeah.
No one. I've been listening to a lot of Nas at the moment again. I'm guilty of listening to the same shit every single day. Yeah. Did have a couple of Kendrick songs that I've been pumping a little bit lately.
Yeah. Not bad. Which ones?
Some Money Trees.
Oh, okay.
Classic.
Okay.
Yeah. There was another one from that album that I quite enjoyed, but I can't remember the name. I think what I listen to also really depends on the season.
Right.
Now it's coming winter time, so now it's back to like some dark, like gritty stuff. Okay. In summer, we might get a bit more like Outkast, Tribe Called Quest kind of thing.
Right. True.
But when it's winter time, it's time for the dark shit to come out.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
No.
It's always good to share these passions as well.
Yeah.
With other people.
Definitely.
I can't wait to like settle down and like a country or like a place where I'm happy, and I'm gonna start buying so many vinyls. Like,
is that your goal?
That's the goal. That's the first thing I'm getting when I know where I'll like settle down somewhere.
Yeah.
Because imagine buying a vinyl set now and like having to carry that around. The logistics just wouldn't work out.
What's the attraction with vinyl? Is it because I've never listened to a vinyl. Is it audio or is it like aesthetics kind of thing, or
bit of both? I guess. Yeah. You do have a much cleaner sound.
Okay.
If you have the sound system to support it.
Yeah.
But then aesthetics, you open up like a vinyl thing and you have, a lot of the times there'll be like messages from the artists or like certain artwork which you wouldn't see otherwise.
True, yeah.
And again,
sick.
like with...
Sick,
so sick. Like how we talked about with like... having good memories connected to these kinds of things. A lot of my university life was like finish uni, go to Rafa's house. Rafa's got some new vinyl, chuck that on, just get real baked and just sit there listening to like some amazing music. Daily. That was like the daily activity.
So is he from Netherlands?
He's from Stuttgart, which is in Germany.
Germany, right?
He's currently living in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Guy must have like over 1,000 vinyls by now for sure.
Yeah.
So he's not moving anytime soon.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I don't know. There's something about it. I think it's just like really cool.
Yeah.
I think even recently there was like for the first time ever in like I don't know how many years. The amount of vinyl sold was more than the number of CDs sold last year. I think so.
Yeah, that's
people
crazy.
are like going back to the old days kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is dope.
I think vinyl is also like kind of like a collector's item thing too.
Yeah, for sure. It's much nicer to have like the physical thing in front of you. And then because when it comes to like mixing electronic music, if I see a DJ that's mixing vinyl, I'm like, oh, like level of respect just goes
like plug in USB.
Nah, it's not. It's still hard to mix the music, but mixing on vinyl is like levels above.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's like way more difficult.
How come?
I think for starters, you don't really see, you don't get that same visual feedback that you get from like the electronic machine. So it's really a lot more down to your ear and like really just having like that good musical foundation. Yeah, I guess that's mostly it. It's just like way harder. So I respect things which are difficult, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah, and then mixing hip-hop vinyls, that's like a whole nother field of its own, because mixing electronic music is difficult, of course, but you do have a lot more repetitive sort of nature to it.
Right.
Mixing hip hop is like, not only are you worried about the beats, which are quite a bit different to each other, you also have to worry about the lyrics.
Yeah,
if you get really good at it, you can start sampling songs which sample each other, and then you can mix them together, and it's just so cool.
Yeah.
So Rafa was always real big into it, like trying to like learn how to mix, beat juggle sort of thing.
Okay.
So just sit back, watch Rafa mix, and chill out, and that was good times.
Did you wanna ever like write or produce beats or
produce beats? Could be cool.
Okay.
Writing lyrics, no.
Why not?
Don't know, man. Like, I feel like, I'm not. I don't know if this is a stupid thing. I don't know if I deserve to do it in a way. Like, I feel like you really have to have like a really cool story. I don't know, like a cool story. Like, it didn't feel like the right thing for me to do.
Right.
Even when I'm like listening to songs and like I know the lyrics, I would feel a little bit awkward, like trying to spit them back. It's like, there's another thing that I think about a lot is like some of the messages in those songs are quite, they resonate a lot more with people who have lived through those difficult experiences. I've come, like, in the grand scheme of things, I'm very privileged in my life, compared to like the average person maybe. So it does feel a little bit guilty listening to like this music. But then it's like, I don't know. It's not like it should just be listened to by certain people. Like, I listen to it and I like raise awareness to it. And, like, like love it and put a lot of respect on it. So I think that's what the artist would have sort of been hoping for.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, like, one of my kind of biggest exposure to, kind of, the minorities living in America, right?
Yeah.
Like, is Kendrick. Yeah, they kind of made me realize, like, kind of more context around it. And yeah, I mean, that I appreciated that kind of thing,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
His view and in a very artistic form, which I definitely believe. That's kind of it's something. One thing that grinds my gears is people that kind of shit on like musicals or like music, like why are you singing it rather than just talking about it? To me, like the way I kind of see it is language is a projection of our thoughts. Yeah. And it's not gonna be exact to our thoughts, right?
No.
And adding beats, adding lyricism, adding tempo, and in some cases melody, right? That gives you more dimension to express your thoughts,
Definitely,
yeah. So it's in a way like adding those elements. If you in theory, if you do it perfectly, it's more representative of your thoughts than just talking about it.
100%.
Yeah. So so I appreciate this this artistic form of representation, right? Like there's a lot to kind of appreciate and
because you could have the best lyrics, but if the beat doesn't match them, then it's straight away you can kind of feel the difference, right? Like,
exactly.
Producers are just as important to the actual rapper itself.
I think so. Yeah.
That's why, like, you have all these like classical producers that would just withstand time. I don't know, like DJ Premier and like Havoc from Mobb Deep, RZA from the Wu-Tang. Like those guys are just, the amount of beats they've made. And to really suit the people that they work with, I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to put yourself in the mindset of the person writing the song to make a beat for them. You really have to connect with them. So I just think it's just so sick. And like they take one little sample from one song made 20 years ago, completely change it, and somehow incorporate it into all these other samples they've taken. It's just like, it's just props to them, eh?
Yeah,
Like the way they do it with like limited tech back in the day as well. Like they didn't have like, what is it, Serato? No, Ableton, like all these.
Yeah, FL Studio.
That's it.
Yeah.
Audacity.
Serato too, right?
Serato is another one. Yeah. It's just so cool. Like musical theory in general is pretty interesting to me as well.
Yeah.
In the end, it's like down to mathematics again, right?
Yeah,
you
it
have
is,
like
right?
the signal,
Yeah,
and like the way you sort of modify the signal.
Yeah,
it's all just like tying together.
Yeah.
Shout
out to Jay Dilla. We can't talk about beats and legends and leave out Jay Dilla's name.
Sure.
You know? Yeah,
another like classical.
Yeah,
it's just so good, so foundational.
Yeah,
because like hip hop today wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for like what came before it. Hip hop back in the classical days wouldn't have been what it was for like all the jazz that came before it. Like I think that's so cool, like us progressing and like building on top of things discovered. You have the same in every single field.
For sure.
AI, music. It's just so sick. Sometimes I feel like we're regressing a little bit as as humans, but maybe that's just me being like old or whatever.
Like you know, boomer.
I'm accepted, bro. I'm a boomer.
No, that's why I love like someone pursuing like an art form, because I mean, like if you're really passionate about it, I feel like whatever you do is, I guess like the nature of like pursuing like an art form, the nature of it is pursuing like new creations every time. I mean, even if you're copying someone, right? Like I feel like even if you tried so hard to copy someone exactly, you are gonna have your own smell on it. You know what I mean?
For
like
sure.
You can't get your smell off anything. And I love that.
That's cool. You always, whether you like it or not, you always add a little bit of like your own touch to things. It's just the way you do it. It's super interesting, eh?
No, it is. That's one of the reasons, like, I like love it that you can paint and you love painting and you've been painting. And so when I ask you these questions, like it's my genuine interest. You know what I mean?
This has been great. Like as you read out at the start, I've always been told I have like a little bit of like a cartoon feel to my paintings. I know why it happens. Like I really like to define lines. My process of painting, it was like near the end, I would start adding like the black lines. And that's my favorite part of painting, because that's when things pop out and you add this clarity to the image. I remember getting roasted a lot in school by my teacher, saying, and he was right, you shouldn't rely on these defined lines to bring out your painting, like, because there is defined lines in real life if you look around, but they're not all black. Right. I guess that's where the cartoony sort of feel to it comes, but it's just, I always think about it and I'm just like fuck you, man, like I'm just gonna do my own thing, because that's what I enjoy, and that's what like defines it. It's pretty cool. I used to think that realism was like the pinnacle of like art form.
Is it not?
Nah.
Is it not? What is the pinnacle of the art form?
There is no pinnacle.
Isn't there?
Nah, I don't think so.
Is it all flat?
It's all flat for me. I sort of came to realize that like all these very abstract artists that you see, they can also paint hyper realistic. They have the skill to do it. They have the time. It's more the idea is what's more important now. Coming up with that idea for this abstract piece. Some art can definitely be way too abstract for me, and I don't enjoy it. If you show me a square of like just one color, I'm going to be a bit like, I see, like I'm sure you felt a certain way, but to me this looks like you can do it in like 5 minutes, especially if it's like automated. But there's still something to it, especially if like this square has like, once you look deeply into it, like certain textures
Yeah.
or the paint in certain ways is applied differently.
Right.
And I think getting that right sometimes is actually very, very difficult.
Okay.
Whereas with like hyperrealism, you just keep layering and
Yeah.
eventually it's going to come out pretty good.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just some thoughts which I've been having lately.
True.
Yeah, I'm guilty of like, I paint a lot, but I don't know too much about like art history or like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a few artists that I really enjoy, but I don't know enough names. So I really need to educate myself a bit more.
Right.
That will come with time. Me and Mum always go to like art cinema and we always go to exhibitions together.
Yeah.
Mum's been like a massive supporter for my painting.
Yeah.
Like actually with like the biggest one, like big motivator for me to paint as well was like make my mum happy.
Yeah.
Anything to keep mum happy. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
so much respect.
Yeah.
So shout out Svetla.
Mrs. Svendler.
Sure.
Well, we've been talking for 2 hours 50 minutes
Pretty good. Didn't think I'd last this long.
with a bit of toilet break.
Just a cheeky one in there.
Yeah, just cheeky one in there. So you know how I started with the intro thing?
Yeah.
Another kind of staple of like my podcast is some quick fire questions at the end.
Let's go. And I'll try to keep them to like one word answers.
One word answers.
Something quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, these are like kind of like something I'm curious about, but doesn't really fit into the like with the rest of the conversations or I don't know. Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool.
So I thought I might just squeeze them into one, right?
Let's go.
You ready? Quick fire questions. Question 1. Has to be asked. Have you tried DMT? Has to be asked.
Nah, man. I've been next to people that have done it, but I never did it myself.
Why not?
Too much.
Too much. Later?
I'm not. I would like to at some point in my life,
yeah.
but I'm not mentally ready for that.
True. Do you have do you have a favorite lyric?
Fuck, I have one MF Doom one which I really like.
Yeah.
Dedicated cheapskater who keeps data, stay self-medicated to sleep later.
Oh, which one?
that's
That's
what it
from
was.
Mad Villainy, surely.
No, it's from Vomit Spit from the MF Food album.
Okay.
I just always felt like I could relate to it. It was like cheapskater, like I'm a bit cheap.
Yeah.
That
You
keeps
skate.
data. I like to keep data.
True.
And then it's like says that he stays self-medicated
Right.
to sleep later, and
Right.
I need a JO2 to go to sleep. So it's like it's perfect.
Okay, this is. I asked this question to Denim, and I thought it was interesting. To you, what's the best song ever? So beats wise, lyrics wise, message wise, and everything combined. Oof. What's the best song ever?
Impossible, but there's a song on the Only Built for Cuban Links album called Heaven and Hell.
Okay.
By Raekwon and Ghost.
Yeah.
That's one of my go-to songs.
Okay.
Just like a lot of like just top Gina. They're just like, it's super chill. It's got like really nice like lyric sample to it.
Yeah.
And they just sort of brag about themselves, but they always like, they talk about the boys and like just like the clan together and like just like how life is just heaven and hell. You just have the ups and downs kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. What's your most proud painting?
It's another really good question. I'm really happy with this one thing I did for the end of my high school portfolio. Mm-hmm. It's 4 sections. Yeah. In the middle, they combine to create a brain, which is like made out of people.
Yeah.
And then each of the 4 corners is kind of like 4 basic human needs represented with animals kind of thing.
Okay.
So One day I'll send you a photo. I think it's like,
Yeah,
I was like quite happy with that one because there was like quite a lot of thought behind it.
right.
Technically, it's like decent, and then just like
Yeah,
it was cool.
I was gonna say, when your dad did the interview for Whitley Award, it was hanging behind his.
Yeah, it
behind him,
is.
Yeah, above his head.
Look
I was
at
like,
you.
I remember seeing that.
Oh,
yeah.
that's cool, man.
Do you have a favorite dragonfly?
Nah, but there is a dragonfly named after me.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true.
I guess I have to pick that one.
That's true.
Somatochloro burisi, the Bulgarian emerald.
Yeah.
Slightly endangered, so watch out.
Is it Latin or something? Or-
Yeah, that's the Latin name. So my dad found it in 2001
Whereabouts?
in Bulgaria. I think it's
okay,
quite
cool.
like for that area.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
quite big. It's like green. It looks like an emerald sort of color. So that's
Okay.
why it's called the Bulgarian emerald.
Slightly endangered.
Yeah. It's not a lot of samples out there, so don't mess with me.
Okay, here's a similar question to before. What's the best painting ever?
In general, what did I've done?
In general.
In general,
Yeah.
oh shit. I love Bill Hammond.
Okay.
He's like a New Zealand artist.
Yeah, I
He's-
remember saying him once.
Yeah, he's got very. There's this one, I don't know the name, sadly. I should know this. Like very green, ocean blue colors, and he paints all these like. It's like New Zealand landscapes, but seen from a different perspective because he adds like these bird humans in there.
Okay.
And it's quite like Egyptian, primal,
Right.
mythical, combined with like these colors that I really like.
Yeah.
So that's the one.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Mona Lisa or something.
Nah, fuck that.
Oh, really? What do you think of Mona Lisa?
Cool.
Yeah. That's it.
I don't really see the hype.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to understand. I need to know more about art. Like technically, it's amazing.
Right.
You look at like the skin tones and the way it's all applied.
Yeah.
I think that painting is just so famous because of all the history that it carries.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what really elevates it.
True.
It doesn't quite hit the spot for me.
Fair
like,
enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so similar to before, who is the best painter or visual fine artist?
That I can think of.
Dead or alive?
Bill Hammond, bro. He has to be up there.
Really?
Yeah, I really like his work.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
Kiwi.
Yeah, he's a New Zealand artist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit biased, but yeah, okay.
Big fan.
And is he kind of your favorite too?
Yeah, I think so.
True.
It's hard. I don't really have like a favorite artist, but that would have to be one.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's not who's that Mexican lady?
Oh, Frida Kahlo.
Yeah, Frida Kahlo.
Oh, she's up there.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she is super cool as well. Like
Yeah.
her story.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, favorite painting could be one of hers as
One
well.
of hers, yeah.
Yeah, she
She's
has like
Interesting.
this one painting where it's like sort of Mother Earth represented and like all these different elements.
Yeah.
And she's holding like Diego, like her
Right.
husband, as like a little baby.
Yeah.
Like the amount of symbolism in that painting is sick.
Yeah.
And it has the same colors as the Bill Hammond one.
Oh,
So I
really?
think I just really enjoyed that color scheme. Yeah.
Was it in the exhibition?
Yeah.
Oh, there was
I
a-
was stoked to see
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot smaller than I expected, but I was like, that's nice.
Who's your favorite Naruto character?
Oh, mate. Like Itachi or something.
Itachi, okay.
Yeah. Sasuke's up there, but he's
Yeah.
such a little cunt.
but you're a bit of a Uchiha clan
Yeah,
fanboy
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Okay.
The Akatsuki clan in general.
The-
like they're
the
some
Akatsuki clan,
people in there,
yeah.
yeah. I was a big fan of Neji as well.
Yeah,
Was that
yeah.
his name? Neji.
Neji, yeah.
Yeah. He was cool.
Yeah. Now Akatsuki's got their fit right, you know.
Mate,
Bro, they look so sick.
they look
in
so
that,
sick.
yeah.
And Itachi is like so sick
Itachi's
as
so
well.
yeah, he's sick ass. If you so if you could steal, because you know each character's got like different power kind of thing, right?
Oh.
If you could steal like power from anyone, which one would it be?
I don't even like Naruto's frog power is pretty cool.
Oh, you
Like
mean-
the sage mode
the
or
sage
whatever.
mode.
Yeah. I reckon
yeah.
that's dope. Just
Yeah.
like drops down for some meditation and then like
Yeah.
awakens like this inner nature
he
force
looks cool
within
too.
him. Yeah.
eyeliner.
Yeah. The
it's
eyeliner's
so
dope.
cool, yeah.
Nah, that would be the one, I think.
Fair enough. So that's 10 quick fire questions,
Let's go.
Mr. BM. So yeah,
Mr. Bad Manners.
thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
It's been a pleasure.
No, it's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and I think this is a really cool idea.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm looking forward to hearing the other podcasts.
Yeah.
And once you finish editing them, it's going to be really cool to see what comes out of it.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to releasing them because I do think they turned out really well.
Nice.
Or at least when I was editing. So it's 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
Right now, and I probably won't edit that much, so it ends up being 2 hours 40 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I had a podcast with Shara, and I was editing it, and I was like, obviously when you edit it, you listen to it, and I was kind of captivated. I was low key it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That kind of made me think I think there's a lot of benefit in a long form conversations, and
For sure.
at least that's what I like. That's what I listen to, and that's what I like. So yeah.
That's cool. You kind of let the conversation progress as well. Maybe at the start the person's a bit more nervous. And they say less, but then as it goes on, it opens up a bit.
That's interesting, right? It kind of shows that a human side of.
Yeah, for sure. It just feels way more natural than editing and making it perfect.
No, definitely.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah, no, but I really enjoyed researching for this too.
Nice.
Just reading, especially the blurbs about each of your painting, the story behind it.
I'm really happy, bro, because can't express how happy that makes me, because that's what they're there for.
Really, yeah.
I feel like I put a lot of emotion into it, so it's nice to whenever people hit me up about it, it makes me really happy.
Awesome.
So I'm really happy that you went on it.
Cool. We have to have you over again.
Yeah, looking forward to episode 2.
Yes, sir.
I'll hopefully have a few more paintings done by then.
Yes, sir.
And be able to do some cool stuff.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Cool. Well, stay awesome, Boris.
You too, Pascal. I'll see you at work.
Bye.
Goedemiddag.
Love you.